Okay, we're live. We're here for the second set of the Crazyhouse World Championship, and by that I mean last week we saw the first 20 of 60 games played. Here we're going to see games 21 to 40. We've got the challenger Jasugi99 versus the defending champion opperwezen, and I'm here with the same fantastic commentary team. In your top right, Grandmaster Yasser Seirawan, myself John Lee in box 2, and then we've got Kleerkast below me, followed by Mugwort bottom right. So yeah, we're gonna go in just a little while. We've just got the game up. Yeah, how are you guys? How are you this week?
Fine, Justin. Great to be with you all. Nice to be back for the second day of the World Championships.
Indeed.
Had a great Christmas and good to be back. Looking forward to the second installment. It's eight games to 12, and so the players have had a good chance to have a think about what went right and what went wrong, and some improvements and little tweaks in their play, perhaps.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what if we see the same stuff as the day before, the week before.
Okay, e4 knight f6. So we
Looks
did start
familiar
with
so
this.
far. D6.
D6 got played, but we're going straight for D5 on a wasting tempo. So Jasugi took the first set 12 games to 8, so he goes into this with a 4-game lead, but that's still well within striking distance. Okay, A6. So yes, we've spoken about this. It's like black actually wants to gambit this knight these days in Crazyhouse. As counterintuitive as it is to lose a piece for a pawn in chess, there is some validity in the results from giving up this knight for king safety, and it's not such a big deal in Crazyhouse, at least in this day and age, to lose a piece for a pawn.
Exactly. Now, having said that, though, knight c6 versus knight g4. I mean, as Michael Tal once said, Bobby's Bobby, but a knight is a knight. When Bobby challenged the world ladies champion to a match where he proposed knight odds. Knight g4, there was nothing wrong in my view against knight g4, especially after bishop e3 was on the board. But he didn't go for it. He just played a6 and knight c6, and he's leaving the knight on pre, and White's refusing to take it.
Yeah, a6 has been played, now a3 as well. So
we're already in uncharted territory.
Both guys are definitely out of book here, and I think they're both doing that to play safe in a way.
And how often do you see this in chess after 4 or 5 moves that both players are out of book?
For sure. Now, I love Black's position. I think that this is a great position when you get to play a French with your bishop on f5. Now, having said this wasn't the problem in day one. The problem was Oprah was playing great. I mean, he had good positions. He just had terrible results from those positions.
Yeah, so
let's started 0-7.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
0-7. So let's talk a bit about this move f3. And this is probably why black doesn't mind losing the knight on f6, because you get this nice structure where your king's safe. In this case, you still lost the knight for the pawn, but white's got the pawn chain still intact, d4, e5.
The main issue is the knight on g1, how to develop the knight on g1.
Yeah.
We're about to see...
and black looking to play queen h4 here.
Exactly.
And pawn at f4 ideas.
Yeah, pawn at f4 is an idea.
Well, especially with the pawn on e4, the move knight f3 can't just chase the queen away. So queen h4 sets up a nice, pretty square. And now we just have to make sure we don't lose our house to knight takes f5.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's going to play
interesting.
e3.
e3. And pawn at f4, only way to follow that one.
Okay,
And just
bishop
regaining some material. So
f2.
bishop f2, f takes g3, bishop takes g3, queen takes d4. And
How about
material
knight
is
f3?
balanced.
Knight f3 now?
Knight f3 now. Then probably queen takes g3, h takes, and f takes e3. But pawn at d7. So possibly
He gets
potential d5.
Castle's queenside?
Yeah, and D5 ideas are also very common in these kinds of structures.
Exactly.
To break open.
I can't see Kleerkasting any other move here but D5. It's a very Kleerkast way to open the position.
Yeah.
Sack a knight on D5 and somehow push the pawn to D5.
Even C4 if necessary, and D5.
Well, for sure, when he played the move D7, that he wanted to play this move, D5. That's what it was all about.
He'd almost pre-moved it.
Yes, it felt that way, didn't it? Didn't it, Neil? That he almost pre-moved it. Now here, is it? I was about to say, is King E8 really that clear? I wanted to be able to keep the rook, a possibility of rook D8, but he played King C8 rather fast, so I assume there was something wrong with King E8.
Probably knight takes F5. Same stuff was going on right here, and pawn
Same
can land
story.
on D7, something like that.
I see.
Yeah, it's not easy.
he's definitely ready. Bishop H3. Well, okay, I was about to say he's definitely ready to give up his queen. In fact, he doesn't have to. But Bishop H3, Queen H3, and Bishop E6. Black is kicking, or is no? That's Queen E8 check. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I nearly preferred Queen takes G3 over Queen G4, because you're nearly with putting the Queen on H4 and the pawn on F4. That's you're kind of committing to that idea, and you will face D5 with White having a queen in hand. But
right.
There was enough cover to bring the king back to E8 where the bishop was still in F5, and then at least you had some attacking potential. But here I feel like the pawn on F4 and the queen on F5 are both burdens on your position, and White has no weaknesses here.
If you're gonna lose the queen anyway,
yeah, exactly.
do it on your own terms. Yeah.
Here he's going to run the king to B8, A7. That's the idea.
If there's a mate here, Jasugi will find it.
Yeah, this is crushing.
He's just cleaning up.
Yeah, this just looks like too much of a material advantage suddenly.
So he's grabbing the queen.
Well, there's knight E7.
It's still a game. Queen at F2, pawn at E2 is dangerous here. So
maybe some rook takes A6.
Can you go to
I'm
A6?
not sure.
I think King A7 is probably okay. There's Queen takes E3. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, Knight B6, kind of dangerous. You're right,
Looks
Neil.
Terribly dangerous. Looks like it's just winning.
Jasugi's going to
Knight
find a
B6.
mate, I don't think Queen takes D8 quite works because of Knight at D7, King A7.
Okay, I believe you.
White can still castle here, right?
Yes. And that might actually just be a great move. Leaving it all up. By the way, the clock is becoming effective. Yeah.
I was looking at this move. He must take with the king.
Yeah,
otherwise, Queen takes D8 is strong.
Yeah, it's mating. If you don't, so Rook takes A7, then Queen takes D8, Rook takes, Knight at D7 check, Rook takes, Knight takes. But here he's got Queen takes E3. Can you play C takes B6 here? I think you can.
Bishop at C7 was an option. Oh, but Knight, the Knight can cover and attack the Queen.
I really didn't understand Bishop takes E8 there. But it's all about the clock now, right?
Oh, draw coming.
Could be a draw. I think I'll take a draw.
Can he drop a bishop on C7?
Okay, no draw. Can't he just take? No, he's got Knight B5.
Knight B5
check.
Wow.
What a move. What a move. Knight B5 check.
Oh my goodness. Jasugi.
Time.
Clutch.
It's too complicated.
Too complicated. He couldn't find a defense.
Anticlimax.
Well, if you leave your knight from D5, Queen takes B6. That was amazing from Jasugi to decline the draw and play Knight C3.
Was that the first move the Knight made in the whole game? Knight B1 to C3.
And it
What
was
a way to
really
win.
big threat too.
Yeah, it's like I'm developing my queenside knight, resign.
And I noticed the whole time queen at d1 didn't lead anyway because the white king would end up safe on e2 after knight takes e3 check.
Right.
The white king is safe on e2.
But maybe that was the move, Neil, because black needed to dispose of that queen to stop the queen takes b6 threat, and then deal with the knight b5 check threat. But yeah, wow, what a game for game number 1 today. And
H6?
this,
Ooh,
I feel,
like
opperwezen's played this against me.
Yeah, I've seen
I've
this
been in the
idea
black.
before.
This is his comfort zone. He'll like a nice open position. He won't mind giving up a few pawns.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's cleared my cobwebs, guys. When white played the move pawn in hand to h6, why didn't black just answer pawn in hand to g6 and say, if you want to fianchetto my bishop, go ahead and take on g7?
Good question. So there's no knight in hand. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's a reason.
It looks like black is being helped with his development by being able to put a pawn on g6. But now, what is black thinking about? You have to take it, no?
Nah, but if you take knight at f6,
Oh no,
I think and knight d5 back, something like that.
Okay,
he's worried about.
Okay, but
it's pawn at g7 for sure.
Pawn at g7.
Pawn at g7 is the move.
It's also the threat, yeah.
Whether you want to play the check first or pawn at g7 first is the question. I would
pawn at g7 now.
The only difference is if you play pawn at g7, there might be a bishop at e5 in the move order, but taking that rook is probably too big a threat anyway. So
gotcha.
It's a bit like pawn at g7 takes bishop takes g7, queen takes g7, bishop at e5. But if you play knight at f6 check first, king d8, pawn at g7, then that bishop at e5 is no longer an option. So that could be the only subtle difference in the move order. And he has a
either way, you got to make look for the king.
Yeah, queen a5
is a good move. I really like this move a lot.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not it saves the game. Okay, here I got to play pawn to d2 check.
Yeah. So queen takes d6 is nearly on, but it doesn't quite work. It looks risky though. Is pawn at c7 maybe?
Pawn c7 and knight d5, right?
Yeah, I think Jasugi's missed this one. We'll see if he kibitzes oops or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So the idea is that when black blocks with a pawn on d7, then you're going to put the pawn in hand on c7.
Pawn at c7, queen takes, knight c to d5. I was looking at knight b5, but king d6.
I don't actually see mate.
Knight b5 is going to be mate, I think.
But you don't. Your
king's hovering in the center, but I don't actually see a forced mate.
There's a b4 idea as well. In some cases.
Yeah, don't see mate yet, but I think it's queen at c7. If king e6, bishop g4.
Knight e4 is mate. Knight e4, queen d6, bishop d3 was mate.
Bishop g4 is mating here.
This is as well, yeah.
Because the queen comes to f4. So pawn at f5 takes, queen f4, and pawn at f5. And Oppa is off the board much quicker this time around.
Beautiful.
Pawn at h5 if king g6.
In day one, that start by Opper was terrible. He got off to that 0-7 start. So getting on the board early is reassuring.
That was a cold blunder from Jasugi. That was just like he thought everything was defending d6, and in 2 moves he removed every defender from d6, and it definitely wasn't intended.
No. Now, why isn't he playing knight g4 in that position?
I think I've seen Jasugi play this before. He actually just relinquishes the bishop on e3.
He plays a move like bishop e2, for example.
Yeah, or
So you would
a
use
knight
the
H3.
F file after castle's kingside.
Yeah, he uses the F file
Well,
after castle.
I'm doing it for a very specific idea. So knight g4, bishop e2, for example.
Yep.
I want to take on e3
Yep.
and put a bishop in hand on h6.
Right.
So I'm threatening the e3 pawn. And that's a good pawn, actually. If my bishop lands on the e3 square, it interferes with castling. But,
Yeah, I nearly think instead of bishop e2, it might be knight h3. Then something like bishop at h6 can be responded with something like queen f3.
Okay.
And then the bishop might come to d3 and then your castle, because the bishop on e2 is set up there to stop knight g4. But after knight g4 happens, you might want to put it somewhere else.
Yeah, I was thinking that unless you force me to take the bishop, I'm not going to, like, if you go knight h3, then I'll go bishop f5 and I'll wait for a while. But okay, we're in what I think is a very decent looking French.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, I'm always worried about a knight trade and a knight coming to h5.
Ooh, we talked about this.
Upper played h5,
H5,
to just
H5.
stop that idea.
Yeah, so h5 stops knight at h5, and just to tell you what I think is going on in Opper's head, having played him a few thousand times, I reckon he's prepared this a6 system, and I don't even think knight g4 was a candidate move in his head. He's basically said, I'm going to leave that knight on f6 as long as I can, and if he doesn't take it, I'm playing for this system, and he's not wasting any time on it. He's just saying, that's what I've prepared, and I'm playing it.
And conversely, I think Jasugi's bishop e3 is just an attempt to play any move which Opper may not have specifically prepared.
Yeah. It's not pushing for an edge, and therefore it's probably not theoretical. But he's very used to putting his bishop on e3 in these. I feel Opper's quite comfortable here. This is a chess-like position, and I think he wants to just build slowly with queen d7. He probably... I don't know if he wants the castle queenside.
Whoa, the move c3 is a real shock. I thought rook c1, was planning the great and powerful forward
C4.
thrust c4, and c3 didn't see that coming.
So I'll acknowledge a donation from Mutton Chops has donated $5. Thank you for the support. And I actually do need to call out a massive couple big donations that have happened while we were offline. There was $100 donation that came in from Fossil Matrix. Absolutely massive.
Fantastic.
$100 donation, just probably not long after the stream finished. And Jalwin Morad donated $10 for the ZHWC 2020 as well. So we'll get back to the games, but definitely want to acknowledge the support that's come through. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Big shout out of thanks there. The players are most appreciative. Now, having said that, at some point, I mean, don't we want to put a pawn on g3 as black here? And doesn't that precipitate, a knight takes e5 idea?
Yeah, there could be a knight going to g6 maybe, but you've got to watch out for knight at h5 now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Did we like the trade on d2 there? It was like the tension was building, and then
I nearly feel like Opper's now going, well, I've got the position I like, and what do I do with it? And you can sometimes, over-engineer your ideas.
Right. I know exactly that feeling. And
sometimes in Bughouse, you can play a move like rook h7 here to answer knight at h5.
Yeah, I was actually thinking rook h7 myself.
It all holds together.
He's got two bishops on h7 at the moment, so he figured g8 is okay.
You got to watch out for a sneaky bishop at g8 after rook h7.
Yeah, exactly.
True. Is g5 a move here?
Yes. First of all, I mean,
it's legal.
Kind of thing yes. Yeah. That's the good part. It's legal.
Thanks, guys.
Anything we can do to help your stream there, Justin. We're going to support.
Do you think g5 is a good move? I'll rephrase.
I think it's dangerous for both sides.
Now it's white that wants the pawns for h7 and g7.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
look
now
at the
that
clocks,
rook
though.
isn't on h8, he can allow this move h3 takes g4. When the rook is on h8, you always have to be careful of h3 or g3 landing kasplat. But now, well, he's played rook h8.
If I was opper here, I'd be regretting playing rook d8 because I just want to castle queenside so bad. The king looks so good.
Totally.
So safe on the queenside.
Agreed wholeheartedly there, Justin. I really, the move rook d8 was the mysterious rook move.
Oh, very strategic game here. So knight on e4, defending f6, which is an entry point, and Jasugi's trying to avoid a momentum building on an h3 push. It's just slowly, strategically grinding here.
What?
I'm nearly thinking, like, yeah, get knight a7, get queen c6, king d7, king c8.
Yes.
Here we
I
go.
like
I mean,
and you see how fast is Jasugi's playing too. Noticing 7 seconds on the clock from his opponent.
Putting some pressure on. Wow, okay, he's gone bughouse mode here.
95 coming maybe.
Yes.
I wasn't sure about that last one. Oh dear.
Yeah,
I think
this is Jasugi's comfort zone here.
Black's in terrible trouble suddenly.
Yeah, he's kicking. Black is kicking. I'd still possibly take black here.
Wow, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, not everyone likes defending as much as I do, possibly, but
I see a queen landing on the 8th rank there. Rook a8.
Bishop on c7 is going to look good.
This should be win. Easy win.
Look at the move order there, and giving the knight very wise, because you don't want to give a diagonal piece for c7. So he's actually chosen specifically.
Yeah, and you have to go knight c8 to stop queen takes d6.
Good defense
so
far.
Definitely rook to h8, and definitely bishop bring that bishop back to c6.
d5,
bishop on
always
c6.
d5.
Oh, always d5.
Yeah.
We're 20 moves late for Kleerkast on d5.
No, I saw it actually happen when it happened. No, this looks terrible once again, unfortunately.
Look how safe Jasugi's king is. He doesn't have to do anything with check.
Yeah, that was nice how he ripped open the position.
I thought White should have put a pawn on f6 a turn ago, but yeah, this should be enough.
This is Jasugi's game now. It's on his racket. Possibly preparing for queen g2 mate in about 10 moves with a battery on a8 and b7.
Here there's a knight coming to 7. Ooh.
Things are looking crunchy.
Yeah.
There we have it. Beautiful.
Oof.
Very convincing.
Very convincing.
Very convincing. Yeah. The move rook d8 just felt all wrong.
See, yeah, if he could have castled queenside, that would have been quite different.
Yeah.
But
or at least passed his turn and not played rook d8.
Yeah.
Strategically, again, I think it's, opperwezen got low on time there, and that's what got him into trouble, because the position he got out of the opening was the one he wanted.
Now here, how do you guys feel about knight c3, bc3, knight back to e4? I always like doubling up my opponent's pawns.
It's probably bishop d2 or queen d3. I'm not sure. Probably bishop d2. Queen d3 can run into knight takes f2.
Right. Knight takes f2 is one.
Reminds me of a position where Kleerkast would play knight d6.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. It's the same. Someone in chat was asking as well, why do you leave the knight on f6 and why do you leave the knight on d6 in this case? Just to fortify your center. It's sometimes even worth the piece for a pawn. You get a very safe center, safe king, and that's very important. But here, knight takes f2 and the pawn on e4 seems like a good idea as well. To just get the piece back. And there's maybe even some knight takes d4 ideas to open up the trades for the bishop. With the king now open, you would like to get some trades in as well.
Yeah, especially with the f3 knight being captured, then tactics like knight e5 start to look good for exactly the reasons you were saying there, Kleerkast, of more trades. Just get more trades.
Yeah, exactly. If you were partnering now, you would spam that button with trades.
Yeah. Okay, knight g4 with the transparent threat of knight f6. Check. How serious is it, Justin? Is that something that you would encourage with a move like h5, or would you play to prevent knight f6?
Justin would definitely play h5, knight at f6. He can sack the queen. It's the dream position.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Jan Lee sacrifice. It plays itself.
Well, you're forcing me to play a position I like. It's probably h5. It probably is. But this is nice too.
I'm not a big fan of bishop takes c6 because now he's made bishop h4 check possible after knight f6. Did you guys like bishop c6? I didn't see the rush for that.
Yeah, the check is useful for black.
I think knight takes d4 was the concern.
Yeah, I think
from
he was
Jasugi.
worried about something like that. Yeah.
Okay, that was the concern. Knight d4.
So White's playing for
fair enough.
this solid structure, and he doesn't have to rush for knight at f6. Here, yeah, I find it interesting. Opper's not looking to really break the bank, just build slowly. We'll see here if he plays for knight e3. I'm not sure what he's got in mind.
By the way, king d7 a moment ago in the previous game with the idea of running to c8 made a lot of sense. Prior to the move h5, I also thought that king d7, just getting on your chariot and moving inside, good idea. Unfortunately, and apologies to the audience, a friend of mine, Bruce Harper, and I just completed a book called King Walks, where players voluntarily move their king across the board, and the chapter on suicide marches are just hilarious. Again, I'll say it again. King d7. I'm under the influence of my own writing.
I think Yasser would really like this sort of setup that Jasugi's forming here, because I remember you used to play the French in Crazyhouse with an early bishop d7, bishop b5, and the idea was to exchange the bishop and put it back on c4.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right, Neil. Now, that move, knight e4, really caused a crisis. What's going on now, guys? Because
black is better, I feel.
Yeah, you feel like Opper went, I have to start attacking because otherwise I'm not, and he is. But c takes d3 here. Are we running into knight at h3, knight at g2, something like that?
Yeah, and h takes g, and the rook can come to the back rank if you
king
can force
e1,
the king back.
I think you've got to play king e1 here.
Yes.
Is it? Can he just? No.
So you notice Jasugi was leaving king d7 in case of a move like knight at g7
Absolutely,
check.
Absolutely, he was leaving it.
Now this was the problem that I saw, was that knight e4 check. You can't go to the first rank because h1 is hanging with check in that case.
It's all very sharp
this
here.
Must be winning for black.
He's just going to defend it. I think that's a very wise decision from Jasugi. Just bishop takes g7.
He could even pick up the queen.
Can he
d takes
the
e2?
Queen? Yeah, I love taking the queen and taking on f3.
That's also good enough. Yeah.
For black. Rook h8, bishop f3.
So knight at e4, critical defense.
What a move. That was really, really nice.
And here's here an important role for the bishops on b5 and c6. It's even one too much, actually. One would be enough. They're really nice defensive pieces, the bishops here.
Yes.
Giving absolutely no chance
Yeah.
For any counterattack.
Game over.
Exactly.
Jasugi's in fine form.
This is clinical play.
The knight at e4 was really a blind spot, I think, for Opper, because he just felt... And that's where, if you assume the game is chess, you think you can cover e4 with a pawn, but the light squares are critical.
What were you saying about the bishop on b5?
Yeah, it was still important. Yeah, it was still important.
Not
it was needed for the mate there.
Oh, knight g4 happened.
Look, knight g4, finally. I feel vindicated. It took 6 hours and
so it's probably not knight h3 because that's in the way
of
bishop
takes
h3.
h3.
Yeah, so it could be bishop d3.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can tell Jasugi's having a good think.
Okay, now I like knight c6 because this sets up possibilities of I was about to say possibilities of knight takes e5, but he did play knight f3 and g6.
Move to a g6 system.
Wow.
Can you play still for h5 here? No, he's gonna castle.
No. Prudent, I would say.
There's a nice the bishop is moved now. Now he's maybe going for h3. If you go h3 before, you get a bit of a hole on g3 where the bishop can come again. So now he might play h3.
Big question is f7, f6. I want to open up the f file for my rook with f7, f6. If you go h3, I take on e5 with a double attack against the bishop on f4. If you take on f6, I'm hoping rook f6 will cause some kind of an accident.
For the record, yes, that's the first time I've seen you endorse the move f6. It's like every time I play f6, you're like, f6, oh, how could you play that move? That's horrible.
Next, Yasser's going to say g5.
Yeah, g5. Yasser, why not g5?
I'm recovering from the Christmas holidays, but we didn't have that much cheer. G5 is not, but I'm not a big fan of that. Was it h6?
Oh.
Oh, what a nice.
This is nice.
A sacrifice. You know, I'm trying to remember. I think it was Robert Byrne who had that great line. He said that guy, Tigran Petrosian, was so strong. He was playing a defensive combination before you even realized you had an attack. And it seemed to me knight d5 and g5 was a defensive combination. And I like it. I think it was a really great idea by Opper.
Yeah, I like Opper's play so far in this game. Because black doesn't have a lot to work with. And it made sense to do something on the dark squares with the knights and the bishop on g7 set up for e5.
Absolutely.
The knight on c6 was a bit of a liability. I mean, in the previous game, there was nothing to do with it for a long time.
Agreed, Neil. Yeah, here you're almost thinking bishop e5, knight in hand to c6, just to try to, chew your way through the king side a little bit. Probably not that great an idea, by the way, but...
I feel like here it's harder to come up for a plan for white than it is for black. Exactly. Black has the fortress set up, and there's a pawn and bishop in hand. There's things on h3. There's a bishop at f4. There's things to do, but with white you've got these minor pieces, and there isn't a clear break.
Exactly.
Opper's just maintaining the fortress here.
What I noticed so far is that we're seeing just in the few games already that there's a lot more to Crazyhouse than just bam, 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 checkmate. There's a lot of subtle positional aspects which we're seeing in these few games.
Right. Now,
a lot of players would have played pawn at h3 already, but Opper not going for it. For example, he's just playing bishop at g7. Okay, now he thinks he's safe back home. Now he's going for the attack.
Yeah, now that you said it, he's like, okay, all right.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, guys, we're going to have to keep our voices down. The players have a great intuition.
The Netherlands is so small, opperwezen list between me and Yasser, he can hear us.
Exactly. Okay, now is the time. I was about to say, I was looking at ideas of E5 and H3 and E5 to try to blow up what was going on. But I like knight F4. I'm a big fan. That looks like a really good move. In fact, it looks so
He's
good.
just trying to set up camp on H3.
Yeah. Okay, now aren't we ready for E5 at last?
Yeah, E5, E4, but the problem with E5 is that there's sometimes knight takes D5, and then you get the fork on E7. There becomes a new knight on E7. So I like pawn at E4.
I like pawn at E4.
I like this very
knight
much.
Knight takes
as
E4
well.
probably is coming. But,
well, then the bishop on G7 hits the bishop on D4.
Yeah.
You look at the clocks. This is so good for opera.
Queen takes D4 is automatic here.
Just queen takes D4. Yeah, queen takes
or
D4.
Or even bishop takes is also fine, probably. But the queen trade will be very good for
You want
black
some
here.
ammo in your hand now with black. Your king is so safe.
That's right.
This
he didn't play knight E2. Oh, he wants knight H3. Check.
Knight H3 with queen G1.
Yes. But I like having the bishop on G7 there. I must say. Okay, knight to E2 check, and he doesn't have a pawn.
You don't even have to. I'd play knight at H4 as well. Yeah. If queen takes D4, you just play knight at E2, rip off the queen. So.
Gotcha.
He's played it anyway. Knight at E2.
Now's an opportunity.
He's looking for mate, but I think he doesn't have to do that. It's just so far from clear. He might be thinking knight H takes G2 or something opperwezen like, but it's just gone sensible at the end. Here's where I think you're up a minute against Jasugi, and you just need to play moves.
Yeah.
By the way, queen F6 here? No, he didn't go for
No, I was going to play rook D8 instead of taking G7.
Yeah, did he have to take on G7?
It doesn't matter. I mean, black is still so much better here.
Well, he's really up humongous amounts of material as well, isn't he?
No, if I'm black here, I'm like, well, time is ticking, and if I let time tick, then I'll win somehow. So F3 looks...
I'm thinking just queen to G5, but he didn't do it. I just wanted to re-fortify everything to stop a knight H5 check possibility. Okay, queen H5. That would definitely...
Queen G5, that's more like upper.
That's more like it. That's really...
Yeah.
That was really an in your face. Yeah, well, this is just like
F3 now.
Overwhelming.
We didn't see as much of this last week, but this was what I was talking about. You just keep taking these pieces, and Jasugi will defend so well till he's got nothing left, and then he'll have to resign.
Right.
But rather than going for that knockout blow, practically this is a lot easier. I do have to acknowledge a massive donation. Herminator4 has just donated $50. Thank you so much for that support.
Thank you.
Huge donation. And opperwezen taking care of business. But
well, that was
clean.
That
Very
was convincing. Clean. That was clean. Yeah. We've seen a couple of clean games.
And Oppo out of the blocks much faster. He had to wait till game 9 last time to get 2 points on the board. We're on game 5 here. It's 3-2. So.
By the way, since day one started so badly for him to come back and get the match to 12-8, I thought was a really big success.
He never went on tilt. I honestly feel it's Jasugi having the whole 11 matches of the candidates under his belt, and opperwezen just warming up. But this is the game is still very much in striking distance.
I was going to say, in the previous game, if you had any doubt that sacrificing a piece for a pawn is worthwhile just to maintain your defense and set up a fortress, that was a very good example.
There you have it. Knight b4 provoked bishop e2. Remarkable. Okay.
Seeing a lot of strategy today.
Seriously. Like when they get low on time, it's like the tactics come out, right? Then they start bashing each other's heads in. But,
just about every game has this French-like structure with both colors.
Exactly.
Oh, he's conceding e4. So I guess he wants to put a bishop back on d5 after all the captures, and basically say, well, I've got h5 ready to go. I don't think Opper will oblige.
I didn't.
Yes, rook e1. So maybe he's going knight f1? Ooh, g3's looking like something.
4 is really a challenge. I think we just got to rip everything on e4 and maybe even just sack our queen with a bishop a4 check. Like bishop e4, queen e4, bishop d5, bishop a4 check. You know, give me something. I want to provoke something on the queen side. Like,
so maybe rook e1 was just preparing to allow bishop takes e4 at some stage.
Exactly. So I'm thinking bishop a4 check. How do you guys defend it?
Probably c6.
And then I'll take on d5 and play e6.
Yeah.
That was the point of rook e1.
Yeah,
you've been playing against me too much, Yasser.
I think knight at c6. Oh no.
Queen takes d5.
Well, he's going to do it surely.
We're in the thick of it now. Queen takes d5. You got to take with e pawn because otherwise knight c7, and then there's e6. And now if you
last week when this happened, you said, "Hey, these guys are good players."
Yeah, they really are. I'm getting
he's taking it.
Wow, rook takes e6, king d7 would be his play. I feel he's already going to start heading for the hills.
Can he do that? Knight e5 then, maybe.
But rook e6, bishop at g6 is coming. If you don't play king d7, I think you're losing more tempo.
I think I start everything with bishop g5. Bishop g5
I don't even see Jasugi thinking about it. Just going king d7.
Okay. King d7, are you sure? Wow. Okay, king d7, bishop to g5. And I'm thinking there's a rook c6. I want to cover the first rank against knight e2 check when I sacrifice the rook.
Here I am actually considering bishop f4 if I'm white.
Yeah.
Bishop f4.
Bishop g5 is also, if you block on e7, there is a knight at c5 idea. But the bishop f4 takes way more squares
bishop
from the king.
g5, good too. But I thought bishop f4 so that there's no pawn at f6 and my knight can always go to g5.
The problem is, how do you counter-attack here? Can you get away with a move like pawn at g3 already? For example.
I don't think so.
Wow. Okay.
So if pawn at g3, what is... just
Does it set up a mate threat? That's the question.
Yeah, we're just assessing if it's a real threat.
Mate, yeah.
It's the question is what do you think versus what have you thought about when you play pawn at g3?
Yeah, I want to take on f2, of course, and knight at g3 if he goes into the corner.
I'd play king f1 against g takes f2. So I was thinking if I take the queen on d8. Actually, can I win the queen with check? So
that was what I was thinking.
Pawn at g3, knight e5, king takes e6, knight at f4, king d6, pawn at c5. I can win the queen with check. So I don't think pawn at g3 was valid there.
No, so Jasugi finds it.
Yeah.
He could have played king c8 instead of king takes e6. Then I didn't like it as much.
Knight to f7. I'm not sure I'm a fan. I liked rook c6 there. I thought rook c6.
Rook c6. Were you going bishop at b7 to follow?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, precisely. With the idea that I just nail all the diagonals. Whoa! What a reaction. Okay, I'm playing rook d6 automatically.
So bishop takes h2, does that do something? I don't think that's enough. I think you can king h1.
But it
just looks good for white.
d6. Yeah. Well, now I've got even Queen F7 check. How is Queen F7 check?
He's going with the safer.
Been looking at this move for a long time. Bishop at G4, Bishop at H3 for safety as well.
I like Bishop on H3 for safety. We talked about that on our first day, the combination of defensive and offensive moves.
Yeah, nice game from Opper here.
Yeah.
And it all started with the queen sack on D5 and E6.
Nice.
Well, Jasugi had the option to block the check with knight at C6.
Yeah, and seeing what's happened here, if they repeat, I think knight at C6 would get played. I reckon chomp and knight at E3. It looks like mate.
That's made by assumption.
Made by assumption, yes.
Yeah.
That should be a command in the Twitch chat, Kleerkast. Made by assumption. What does this mean? Yeah, add that. Made by assumption. Knight at G6. This is now made by force.
Yeah.
Forget the assumptions. Clean. 3-all. We've got a match here, guys.
We do. Much different from day one. Much different.
Yeah, we got to remember the first date was 12-8, so the overall standings now is 15-11 in Jasugi's favor. So he is 4 games down, opperwezen here. But he's keeping it 3-3, and well, it could go anywhere.
Yeah, and of course,
different move order here, knight F3.
Of 60 games, pardon me. So the first to 31, if you will. Sorry, a different move order. Usually that's important, right? I mean, it's telling that somebody was dissatisfied with an earlier outcome.
But each of these games, both players are out of book by move 5. I'll say that for certain. And we can gauge that by what we've seen before, but also by the way they're using the time on the clock.
Now here for me, knight F5 is an automatic move. It's the combination of offense and defense that I really like. Okay, knight H4 was the choice. Intriguing.
So it's probably some kind of capture if you could, and then a bishop on G6, bishop E7. Okay, so he wanted one less attacker on E4.
That was a clever maneuver. Knight H4. If it
He's trying to make these bishops dance.
Yeah.
High level stuff. Yeah.
High level. Love it. Nice. So, I've fallen.
You might want to look at bishop H5. I'm not sure.
Bishop H5.
Because bishop takes F7 might be an idea.
You're trying to discourage knight takes E3.
Yeah, exactly. You want the knight takes E3 is black's idea. So do you want to defend the bishop? But I guess it doesn't really matter. But my point is, if knight takes E3 and bishop at G6 can be played, black is probably happy.
Queen H4 here. I think there'll be.
Yeah, you want to go
H4.
bishop at F2, or bishop at G3.
I'm really anxious as black in these positions to play bishop to G5. I love putting my bishop.
But then you run out of fuel too quickly sometimes. So that's why I'm like, well, let's get a queen out to H4. And I play queen H4 without even thinking what my next move is, actually.
Just want to make some pretense on the dark squares. Justin.
And the board will provide. But Opper's agreed with you, not me.
Now is the time to say these guys play really good. I was waiting for this moment. Nice. Now the point that I really would like is if White would be so kind as to give up the exchange. I think it's a really bad idea for White to play bishop F4, rook F4, bishop G5, and rook E4. I think that rook is actually kind of useful on the f file, but he's done it. I'm a little bit surprised.
If he's gonna give up the exchange, I think he's gonna play some bishop h2 to take back with the bishop on f4.
Okay.
But after bishop at g5, just rook f3, and how do you continue?
Okay, so bishop to g5, rook f3. Okay, he's played bishop to g3. I think he played bishop g3 intending to meet rook f3 with something like knight e5. And
yeah, possibly. I like queen g5 here as well to sacrifice the queen for the rook and then
that's nice.
Get the bishop in. But okay.
Yes, I completely agree with that. The concept of queen g5 there, and so you could take and play bishop to e3. He's done it a different way. His knight takes e5 with the idea f2 and rook e1. Yeah.
I think you want to start with queen h4 maybe.
Yeah, bishop at e3 will happen.
But then, Justin, the knight e5 idea, is that on? Oh, he's got rook e1. I'm sorry. Bishop e3, rook e1, much stronger.
Yeah, rook at e1 I would be more concerned about as white.
Absolutely. That looks formidable, actually. Rook e1 right now. Yes, he's found it.
And it's also very nice to know that back home as black, what is there? There's nothing going to happen.
No.
You might be afraid for a pawn at d7, but there's no follow-up after that. So black is completely fine. He can go for some material here.
Right. And in fact, it's so bad he had to give up as a queen and allow queen f2. This is over.
This is over.
Queen f2.
Knight takes d4 is coming in here and pawn at f2.
Yeah, I was thinking he's just going to play queen to
knight
f2.
takes e4. That's the defense. Knight takes e4. But then knight takes d4, you take e2.
Yeah.
Oh, he just wants to clean up on e2, right? Clean up the bishops.
Oppo just
went straight in. That's what I was thinking. Right, and I thought it was just over.
So Oppo's just decided he's going to take e2, threaten the rook on d1, and he's got plenty of material and safe king. Material's completely balanced here, but white's got all the weaknesses.
And white needs a couple of moves.
No, black's a piece up here already.
Black's a piece up.
I was about to say, this is like a lot of material actually for black.
I find knight takes d2 is strong there too, and knight at f2.
Is the difference with Oppo today is instead of him going for the critical finish, he's just going, well, practically this is a good option, and maybe I'll win in 15 or 20 moves, not 5, but I won't lose on time.
Finally, a game where Oppo doesn't have to watch out for pawn at d7 check.
Yeah. By the way, that was just such a beautiful move, bishop to e1, to force white to defend the mate on h1 threat with a stupid move like rook h2.
The bishop at e2, grab the knight on f1. This game's over.
It's going fancy. Knight at e2.
Knight at e2, knight f2. Yeah, a bit excessive, but he'll take h2. He's completely fine. His king is so safe. I have to call out another huge donation. We've got Harina Zumi Sama has donated $40. Says keep it up.
Thank you.
Big donations flowing today. Thank you so much for the support.
Wonderful. The players will be deliriously happy. Just don't allow knight f6 and a mate.
Yeah, Jasugi's like
that's
looking for knight at f6 here.
That's the one thing he's threatening queen takes d1. That's the one thing not to allow.
Oh, he's getting low on the clock again.
Yeah, bishop g3 or e3 I liked as well.
Can he take d1 now? And f6 is a real threat.
Why? Why did he do? Ooh,
knight at e4.
The game is kind of shifting here a little bit. I'm not a big fan of these last few moves. That move was good, bishop e7, because now you can.
You got to keep a steady.
The time. Clock.
Both down to less than 5 seconds.
Clock.
Ooh, knight at f6 is coming
knight
soon.
f1 is coming.
Queen at h1, queen at h2. He wins.
Yes,
very nice.
Had our hearts in our mouth for a while there, Oppa.
Okay.
He didn't need to let it get that close. That's very dangerous.
He really didn't.
That's
I
very
thought
dangerous.
He had the game in hand as well,
I
Justin.
wonder if he's going to play knight f3 again, by the way. Because knight e2 seems to be an option here as well. And it's very, very strong against h5 ideas. Okay, he doesn't. Because you can play knight to f4 in some cases. And here with the knight on f3, it's just a small finesse, but the knight on f3 is more of a target, and the kingside attack can come very quickly now with black.
I believe knight f3 probably more of a theoretical move versus bishop d7. I know there's some line where the knight takes e5 doesn't work because you recapture with knight takes e5 and then you go big on f7. But
yeah, exactly.
If
I would say knight e2 is probably the, as we would call it in the Crazyhouse community, the Finland approved move.
Stamp of approval.
Yeah, so the finisher would play knight e2 there.
I've pretty much played knight e2 my whole career as well, but
exactly.
I am aware of knight f3, and I feel like Jasugi's just nearly putting it there because he knows this is out of book already. Now Opper's playing. It's like the boards are reversed. This is Opper's system is black, and Jasugi's playing it now himself.
I was about to say, are we seeing a battle of the French? It feels like almost all the games. I think Kleerkast, you mentioned it a moment ago that the match is being decided in the French defense.
Yeah, could be. French are good at playing at war, so. They can last for a long time. But yeah, last of the first part, there were a lot of e4, e5 positions. But I think Jasugi is just reluctant to go back to that because he, especially in the second part of the first 20 games, he got just destroyed by opperwezen. So he probably thinks I have to switch it up, and he gets good positions, I feel.
Yeah, I just looked at today's so much more opperwezen's comfort zone. I mean, we're 4-3. We were 7-0 down at this point last week. So regardless of the current score, it's a momentum thing.
I'm really not a fan of this move c3, by the way. Weakened for me too many squares, light squares, and I'm afraid of what has happened, followed by bishop b5. I think bishop b5 is like one of those defensive moves as black prepares to castle long that I really like. So I think I prefer black at this moment.
I've seen Jasugi do this quite often, where he prepares this evacuation over to the queenside with the king.
Right.
And he's just putting his forces where he wants them for defense, and also controlling the light squares is very helpful as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Indeed.
And there may be a future a4, depending on where the king goes.
Okay, you called it. He's castled queenside.
Yeah.
And it's a good point. The bishop on b5 is not there to just take the rook. In chess, you would like to take the rook. You say, I'm an exchange up, but you just keep the bishop there.
So I just go a4 here. I don't see another move.
Exactly.
Okay, now he needs to take,
Yeah, I think that's the whole point, is that it's just so annoying that bishop is actually a defensive piece as well. It's like, oh man, come on, let's get rid of that guy. Now,
so which side would you guys take here?
I go white.
I still like black.
I go white.
I go white too.
I like I'll start with Yasser. I'll start with Yasser. I go with black.
That's what I was waiting for. Good co-commentator to approve. I like this move, king b8, because you want to go b4 and of course kill me, but I wanted to sacrifice.
I would have put on e2 first. I actually would have played bishop at e2, not bishop at d3, to deny knight at b4.
For the very reason that
I had the same plan. I was going to double bishops on the diagonal. We can say that in Crazyhouse. You got to double your bishops. That's a term not commonly used in chess.
Create a battery of
So the question is not if you'll sack your queen, it's how you'll sack your queen.
Yes.
That's not what your queen can do for you. Okay,
Exactly.
guys, I'm thinking that it's time to go a little crazy here for white.
Yeah, knight takes d3, there was queen takes b7, and knight at a5. That was the idea.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I didn't spot that one.
And made by assumption there.
Correct.
I guess.
So they've set up, the shortcut is Arsmate Kleerkast for...
Yeah, I have Flourish, thank you very much.
Thanks, Flourish. Huge donation, I have to call this one out. Jimmy Pinks, $150. This is crazy, guys. What is going on? And he has just tipped the scales, so just over 1,000 has been raised. Just a reminder, the prize pool is guaranteed. It's $2,000 of my own money, but this is an opportunity to contribute yourself and help me out. So that's why the target is 2,000. The players are guaranteed that money, but really appreciate that. Huge donation, Jimmy Pinks. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, and as I mentioned to Justin, it wasn't like Gary Kasparov lost this world title and then said, I mean, for my predecessor, I'm going to make sure there's a prize fund that they can win. Gary didn't do that, Justin.
Okay. Well, I'm not Gary, and he's not me, so...
Take that as a compliment.
Why didn't he take that on E2? Wasn't there something was hanging on E2?
There was both players thought something was happening on A7.
Maybe A7 and C6 ideas.
Maybe it was a bishop at A7. But
missing something.
And you want to lure away the knight from F1 here. Yeah. So he's sacrificing the queen, and then he's saying, okay, you don't have a mate, I'm going to mate you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we go bishop G3...
Yeah, bishop at G3 is actually quite dangerous.
Pawn A7 though, and
on A7.
Jasugi's just not certain though, or is it knight at G3?
Well,
bishop
if pawn on A7 works, he's got to do it. He's just got to do it and put a bishop on A7.
So queen H2, queen H1, knight at H2 is a threat here, as well as bishop takes F2. This is very difficult for white to deal with.
Exactly. But we were looking at pawn to A7.
I don't think white can defend. That's why he's going for this.
Can he? What? Queen at B8. Are we going all in?
We take, and after bishop A7, then we go king.
The king A8 is the defense. Yeah, and Jasugi won't know.
Right.
Rook C8, not rook B8.
Rook C8. That's dangerous.
You get another knight. You get another knight in hand.
So he has to take it.
Just took it.
Bishop B6.
Knight B5.
Knight B5.
Ooh.
Yeah,
okay.
The A file opens.
What
I don't think he's got enough. It doesn't feel
not.
like bishop hit and is out of steam. This is Jasugi's game.
Jasugi defending very nicely. I think a lot of players would have lost that with black.
I still think
easily.
The difference there in the middle game was bishop at D3 instead of bishop at E2. And I don't know, maybe it
was a tempo crucial. Huh?
I guess I've played both of these guys in Crazyhouse World Championship finals, but for me it's like I just felt like Jasugi was waiting for a knight at B4 and he got play out of it. And you just think if he didn't have that move, what was he going to do if it wasn't knight at B4?
And then he used that pawn immediately to put back on C4 to block out the attack.
You give him like just a tiny inch and he'll take it. Impressive play from Jasugi that game. Yeah.
Agreed. Here, this kind of looks like a repeat of something previous where black sacrificed a knight for the two central pawns and then got a fortress and won it. Very smooth game, I thought.
Yeah, but the bishops seem to be on E2 then. I'm not sure what's going to be the difference now.
Okay.
But if I'm not mistaken, it was and sometimes there's now maybe E6 ideas as well, which weren't played, because black was going to go H6 and then say, okay, I'm going to go make a fortress, but white is now the bishop on D3, and you try to break open the light squares by going E6 at a certain moment here.
Yeah, E6, some kind of knight H4, but you'd have to have a C3 support on D4.
Yeah.
Maybe here it's more valid. But That's what
I'm also a fan.
doing
Yeah, I was about to say of putting a pawn on e4.
Pawn at e4. Okay.
Kleerkast done that about 100 times against me.
Yeah.
Piece and put the pawn back.
This is basically my go-to tactic. Take a central pawn, put a pawn in the center.
Hey, look, he may be a one-trick pony, but it's been working for a long while.
If it's a good trick, I'm happy being a one-trick pony.
Exactly. Yeah, that was what Gary Kasparov said about we were having dinner together before his match against Nigel Short in London, and Gary says to me, he goes, these English, they play, F3 and G4, and they all play for G4 against a Sicilian. The problem is it's a good idea. Whoa.
So hang on, can we take D4 here?
D4.
Take D4.
Hey, it looks like
Is he just
a good piece.
Pawn at F6? Is he just gonna...
That's his idea. That's what he wants to do. I'm sure about it.
I feel like he's losing patience here.
I think we also have to give some thanks, by the way, to Thijs K165. I don't know if you get the bits as well there. It's 1,000 bits.
1,000 bits. That's
nice
a big donation.
Well.
Yeah, that's a lot more than the regular 1 bit that comes on this channel.
Very nice. Very nice.
It's 1,000 times bigger than the usual.
The token donation.
1 Bitcoins I would take those.
Please say my name.
The 1 bit channel. That's pretty bad. Okay, guys, how bad is it? Should we return a little material here just to get Bishop E6 out, or
Bishop F5 maybe as well.
Bishop F5. Okay, we are allowing a knight E7 check and
but maybe you could take Bishop takes F8 maybe. Yeah? Right, but even allowing knight at E7 might be an option.
I like it. I like it in either case.
I'd just go Rook E8 here. I'd just be greedy and hold on to everything.
And,
but here I'd probably sack my queen somewhere.
I was about to say, how greedy are you?
I only have 1 capture that doesn't sack the queen here. That's queen takes b2. But I have 4 options on sacrificing the queen f2 d1.
Wow, he did it. He did it.
Opper's played both Rook e8 and he sacked his queen. I like this guy.
He's really emphasizing taking the pressure off f6. I think that's the purpose of the queen sacrifice.
The queen takes b7. Isn't there some...
Yeah, knight at e2.
Knight at e2 check.
A knight e2 check, okay. And followed by maybe a bishop e4.
Yeah, bishop at e4, yeah.
Gotcha.
And not even taking time to take on f4.
Mm-hmm.
That can be done later.
Okay.
Not a priority.
You would like to take pieces with check, so you want to go take bishop e4 and take on g2 at some case, and then take back on f4.
Okay, well, I think in the stare down there, definitely upper won that stare down, because bishop on e6 is now, he's beginning to take over.
Well, you're always happy when your opponent makes moves with their queen, like a football being kicked around.
Yes, it's sort of like, please, respect my threats.
So f takes e5. He might try bishop takes h6, and then knight takes h6 must be played.
He's threatening queen takes g4 if you take with the bishop.
If bishop takes queen takes g4, knight at f6. So pawn h7 must play king h8. Cannot allow knight at g5 and queen at h7 mate.
With check, yeah.
So it's close, but not
I
quite.
really like this defense from Opper.
Yeah. It's like if you don't play king
bishops.
takes h7, it's like, yeah, good luck getting in here.
Okay, I'm taking that.
And knight at f4. Or do I have to be careful? I think knight at f4 is okay. But Opper puts up some defense.
That was a surprise move.
We didn't see any draws in the last series, so I wouldn't be predicting a draw here either.
No, but But maybe the 2-second increment repeat, right? Just for the clock.
But there was also a queen F. So
I think this is a draw now. I would have gone knight at f4 to play for a win, but this is a draw.
But now after rook e8, why can't we play queen f8? That was yes. I was.
Oh,
I was
rook
thinking,
at f8. Okay.
Yes, I was thinking that was good for.
Now it's very.
You've just got to be careful you're not playing into something
Yeah,
worse.
those heavy pieces are a bit scary when there's 3 of them.
It's still fine for black. It's still fine.
Okay, so bishop e7.
Knight at h6 was maybe a threat, so I like bishop g7.
I saw bishop knight to e7 as a threat. So
okay, the knight on f6 is defending.
Yes.
I like this.
What's this?
What's this? No, that's short on time. Knight at f6, just rinse and repeat. Knight at f6, you've got to put back.
Yeah, that didn't look very good for white.
I feel like Opper's nearly going to win on time by frustrating Jasugi with no mate being available on the board.
What
knight
a
at e8.
move!
Can you take? Yeah, I think you can get away with taking it.
Are you
Knight
sure?
h7.
Yeah, because you'd have no pawn in hand.
Aha.
Yeah, Opper's defending nicely. There'll be knight at f4. You could go for it already.
Can you queen at f8 maybe?
Nah, don't
queen
think so.
h6.
Bishop at g8.
There's a lot of
block with a
rooks to
bishop.
defend, but you have to block
Bishop
with
at
not with the
h7.
rook.
You don't want to block with the rook.
You don't want to block with
Yeah,
the rook.
blocking with the-
With a pawn even.
Blocking with the rook is going to be made, yeah.
Ooh, he's giving up the queen. He doesn't have something. Rook at
How to
g7
defend
must.
h7.
Rook at g7. Bishop at f8.
Yeah, but now bishop f8.
And bishop h8. Taken bishop at h8.
Yeah, as well.
Suddenly this game is turned. It's winning.
Jasugi breaks through.
He did. That was very creative by white.
That was very nice.
Yeah, I thought he was being kept out.
No,
he broke through. That was amazing.
Opper was better there at the end. He just didn't need to allow that attack through. Mm-hmm. I think knight at f4 maybe wasn't as good as I thought it was. Opper had made the same wrong assessment as I did. Because if black continued defending, I think black was stronger.
Everybody's saying Opper should have taken the draw, but it's easy in hindsight.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, guys, 92 on move 5 here.
Yes.
Finland approves.
I think white was frustrated in that previous game, very much so. So this looks like.
This is bad for black actually. Knight takes d4 and king f1 is very nice here. I've played this myself. Yeah, I played this myself with black against Jasugi and got away with it, but it made me analyze it a bit. There's a very nice idea. The idea is queen h4 and you want to take on d4 with the queen, but if the king is on f1, there's no check and you can play a move like knight b5.
Okay, so it's not knight at f3, it's knight b5, something theoretical there.
Yeah, there's a lot of tricks going on, but
so here the issue is king g1, knight takes e2, queen takes e2, bishop takes e3, queen takes e3, bishop at d4 is pinning the queen.
Yeah.
This looks great for black, if I'm not mistaken. Knight takes e2 now.
Well, knight takes e2, bishop takes c5. So that was the idea. The king being on g1 takes e2 with check and prevents bishop takes c5. So that's why knight at g3 has been played.
I've got that, but bishop c5, knight c3.
Yeah.
And then pawn to f4, queen h2, knight g4 check. All kinds of nasties, no?
I think so. Even d4 might be an idea. To go bishop at e3.
Yeah, that's white. I feel I got heaps of minor pieces. Like a queen takes g4 here would be okay,
now
but
that's
maybe king e2.
Rather forced, I thought. King e2, Justin, queen g3, and
yeah, I don't like king e2 as much. Made by assumption. Ass mate.
That was a line of data attention now, by the way. Never
E1. Okay.
assume, because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
That's right. had that gone right, I work for a data company, and they always talk about that.
I think maybe if you're safe, you want to play pawn at a3 here and pawn at b2. I'm not sure if it works. You don't want to let the king escape to c1. That's basically the idea here.
Okay, so pawn to a3 just to annoy white.
Pawn at a3, nice move.
Escaping.
Yeah, pawn at a3 was very nice, Kleerkast. I like that move.
Yeah, getting rid of defenders. Because now the king can go to c1, but still he can take the rook on f1. So I'd like this idea as well.
Exactly. That was a very important moment. That king c1 would have allowed pawn to d2 and queen f1, and then rook to c1.
That's also very nice.
Yeah.
And knight defending g2. It's very resourceful this way too.
Seems like this knight takes e2 move worked very well for Jasugi.
It did.
Allowing bishop takes c5.
And now we have bishop to g5 check. Again, one of those beautiful offense ideas. I love it.
Put the bishop on check, defend e7, mate threat.
Yep.
And then go knight takes, probably. If you defend on e3, so he defends on f4.
Right. Now, if we go...
Ooh, bishop e7.
So he's...
He coaxed pawn to f4 so he could go queen e3 check. So you
and it's real, so
e7.
You can't take on e7, queen at e3 check, king d1, knight at f2 check, F2. Rook takes f2, queen e1 mate.
Gotcha. But this looks horrible for white after.
Yeah, that looks good for black. Jasugi's found some very nice resource here.
Beautiful resources. I love queen check on e3 and a bishop to h5 check. Again, one of those beautiful.
It's
and
like
note the fact that
make him block with a knight.
Yeah, but he's just gonna trade queens.
Yeah, you can just come in the front door here. Black's up a whole raft of
Look at those
pawns.
bishops defending the black king.
Yeah, you just get depressed looking at how hard it is to attack.
Bishop goes to h5, guys, or what?
Bishop at e3, forcing knight at b3.
Yeah. Want to go queen at c1 here?
No, that's enough.
Queen at c1. Oh, that hurt. That was
6-4. 6-4.
Jasugi's coming back.
Yeah. Okay, that really hurt. That was the big knight e2 move, huh?
Yeah. So we're not gonna see it again.
we're gonna put that in the back pocket.
That's the problem with the Finland theory. You have to know it all, and not just the first couple of moves.
That felt like a 3 of clubs in the hole. Not good. Just saying. Now, interestingly enough, here I'm taking on f2 and I'm putting a pawn on c4.
You can put a pawn on e4 or c4 and get the piece back. I'm not a fan of this for white.
No,
I feel that in other lines, black has had to work a lot harder to make something happen. Here, there's weaknesses appearing on their own.
Agreed. Now, having said that, give white king g1, and there's a lot of dark square weaknesses that black has to deal with, right?
Yeah, because and also f7. Black wants to play e6 in some cases, but e6 now is just
suicide.
But also, you don't want to play bishop g7 because you haven't played h6 yet, and there's a big hole on h6.
Okay, here I think I'm starting with bishop b6 so that I can play bishop e6 and queen d7. I don't want to play bishop e6 right away and allow knight c5. So that was why I was starting with bishop b6, but he didn't he just went h6 and said, okay. I don't know, but I kind of like white.
Yeah, this is where white's got to prove that mucking up the pawn structure is worthwhile for the material and activity that that's going to bring, and black's got to try to prove the opposite. So it's not clear yet.
Well, I think that last move, Queen F4, really clarified the cobwebs. Why isn't this just killing for white? F6.
Could you even go knight takes d5 to distract the queen first? And then pawn at f6?
I stand corrected. I agree wholeheartedly. Knight d5 and then f6 look terrific.
What was knight at f3 about? I didn't understand that move.
Like what? Like knight to f3. Wow. Protecting d2.
Protecting the king.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, knight to f3. Okay. Well,
even if that was a mouse slip, I can't see where it was headed. So
otherwise, maybe he was afraid of bishop g5. Weird. Okay, by the way, this move g5 is a move that Opper got in a previous game, and it worked out marvelously well for him.
Did you sack on h3 and play pawn at f4 here? No, it's a bishop at f4.
He wants knight takes d4 if you take on f4.
So it takes twice and then knight at e2 is a threat, right? And then you can take d4 check. This is nice from Opper.
And if you go and there's also knight takes f4, takes, and the queen is on and then on f4, and you take with the knight on d4.
Yes.
And if there's knight takes d4, queen takes d4 is check, and then e5 hangs.
Yes.
So all the central pawns are just gone like that.
Okay. So
white won't take, he will go back. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the
point
of...
It's a little bit surprising that Jasugi was hesitant to attack when he had the chance earlier.
I still like knight takes d4 exactly, by the way, here.
Knight takes
d4. Like bishop. Yeah, and I like bishop h3 also, but yeah. Why do you like knight d4, by the way?
Knight takes d4
just undermines all the dark squares. Yeah.
Yeah, pawn e3, and then the queen has to move.
And then
you take on e5. You take on e5 in some cases as well, with pawn h2 and knight at g3 ideas.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, wow. Well, black is really sacrificing the wood, but I love the safety of his king.
But it's not much. He's only sacked a piece for 2 pawns, and he's got the fortress. E5's hanging. It's actually quite economical.
2 pieces. I'm sorry.
No, it's quite economical.
I had in mind it was 2 pieces. Yeah.
That's automatic because white has 5 pieces and black has 3. I make that mistake as well sometimes. But it's and white has 3 bishops, but he needs 3 moves to put him on the board.
Just like 2 games ago, I really think f6 was the key square there. As long as black is controlling f6 a number of times, it's very hard for white to get in.
I didn't get king h1 either. Like, I don't know. Jasugi's just gone passive mode. It's weird.
Like it's over. I mean, this is just pawn to e3 now, and it just feels like it's...
Yeah, you don't have to take f1 straight away. So I think Opper should take his time to work out how he wants to crack this open. But
this looks like a good way.
This is sensible.
He's going to take on g4 and use the bishop on g3.
Possibly even bishop takes e5 in some lines to deflect the knight away from h2.
Yeah.
He was so worried about that, he played bishop h4. That can't be good. And again, the move g5. Very impressive.
Black not instantly taking the queen, but yeah.
I was about to say, I liked your bishop e5 there, Neil. That had game written all over it. This looks very good too. This is really a fine game by black.
Why hurry? The fruit will ripen of its own accord.
That sounds straight out of Bugzilla's book.
I was about to
Very
say,
nice.
was that Matthew chapter?
That was Karpov.
Okay, sorry.
Karpov of Crazyhouse, maybe.
Oh my. Pawn to e. How did the queen get on the board? What?
It promoted on a square defended by 3 pieces and came back to e5. This is what happens in Crazy House and in the World
Well, it happens when you
Championship.
pre-move. Yes. I think a
Okay, knight at
pre-move.
G3 is coming.
Just bishop
Takes
at
a knight
G7.
first.
Knight E4. Knight E4 first to prep.
And D2. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Neil. We
Queen takes.
are
Queen takes
this,
D2.
aren't we? Nice.
And now
Queen
now
D2.
it's
The players are good.
Players are good.
Knight at G3 finishes here.
Yes.
But you can do it this way. Put a knight on F1.
Yeah.
He had enough of
That was-
being depressed.
Yeah.
So many wins with the black pieces.
Indeed.
Much
6-5.
more competitive.
Very
Much more
competitive.
This is a little bit different. Okay, transposes.
Okay, like
So that's why we see A6 on move 3.
Yeah, move
High
one
over,
even
right?
sometimes.
Move on.
In the last series. All to prevent this.
yeah, this set is a full comprehensive answer to your question last week on why does black play move 1a6.
Now we see it. Now we see why.
Okay, we've got this set up.
Now this I am not a fan of for black. I'm taking on E4. You guys taking with the pawn?
Oh, you take on e4.
I'm taking on
Yeah,
E4.
take with the pawn.
And then knight to G5.
Knight g5. Bishop e7, I guess.
Bishop E7. Boy, you're really asking me to do it, huh? And I would. Okay, he played knight G3, hoping, I guess, for knight takes G3, F2 takes G3. Are you guys fans of F2 takes G3?
In these
Yeah.
cases, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think black's considering taking g3, but this is quite common to put a knight on g3. Quite often there's a knight on e2. I prefer that knight on f3 now if it was on e2 and it can come into f4. And that's a structure I've had a lot of success with. And
Bishop at
And
B5.
because-
It's not hard to guess.
Yeah, exactly. Bishop at b5, but also sometimes bishop at g4, take on f3, and then you can go knight at h4. It's also an idea and why you not want the knight on f3 here.
yeah, push f3 and knight f4, and that whole idea of black is not there.
Yeah.
So
I like this for black.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Queen E2 in whatsoever. Just because of what we saw, but even that the Queen really doesn't like being on E2 in those positions. Okay, he
It
gave
dislikes
up the Queen.
it dislikes e2 so much. I'm gonna sack it on b5.
Exactly.
And it's very nice to note here that black has no diagonal pieces. If you take on c6, you would like to play pawn at d7 and say, okay, nothing going on. But now you have to block probably with a knight or something. Or you have
The
to
rook
take
is
on
not so useful here. Yeah, just allow the rook to be captured. Defend
Yeah, you have to
C6.
how are you defending c6 though? You've got to
Queen
you've
at
got to
B6.
Okay, so you've got to burn some material for queen at b6. Take the rook, takes, and bishop g5, perhaps.
Well, what do you guys think of bishop c2, take on c6, pawn on d7?
Yeah, we'll probably take
bishop
b5
c2.
then.
Okay,
or
okay.
Or bishop
But then-
bishop g5 and knight h5 ideas.
Whoa!
So that's what I was saying, burning material. And he didn't want to burn any material doing this, so he went
He
king
really
d7.
didn't. King d7. Okay, that move gets
Bishop g5 with tempo
our
here.
admiration. But was
Well,
it a good
no.
decision? I can't believe it.
It's a good question, by the way, in the chat. Why don't you play knight at a5? Because the knight
Yes.
is then doing nothing attack-wise. You just take the rook, and
Rook at
the knight on
A6.
a5
yeah.
is never joining the game
Ooh,
again.
look at
Wouldn't
A6.
that have been a temporary inconvenience? Like, yes, you're right. Knight a5, take on b6, on a8, take. But then the knight on a5 could come back to c4. It could get back into civilization quickly, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could help some, but usually you would like to preserve the knight in hand here for some ideas on page 3, I would say.
That's like a chess timeline progression. Yeah, so that knight coming back to life. That's too slow in Crazyhouse.
Now my question is rook a6, very, very attractive, of course, but why did he play rook to d8?
Yeah, because if black can actually possibly capture that twice, and possibly get away with it, and if he does, then white's attack is really
are you
not going in.
Justin? You could take twice on d8. I've got knight on b7. I've got.
I'll just go king c8, and I'll just keep taking your pieces. This one is.
And he sacks the queen again. It's the rook again. Very nice.
Oh, what a move!
This is sexy. This is sexy. I like this.
Either queen takes
king,
c6,
knight
knight at
d8.
b8, knight b8, king takes c6, knight at d8. So there's a knight fork either way.
Sweet. Okay. High marks for styling in this case.
Yes. So now you're like white going, okay, well, rook takes c6 looks so sexy, but now what?
Right. Okay, we take on c7. We put a pawn
on
d6
maybe.
c5.
I think he's looking for more.
And while I admire that, the alternative is maybe knight to David 8.
Yeah, so knight at d8, I think it's queen takes d8, bishop takes d8, queen takes c6. It's quite safe.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I agree with that one. At last.
We concur on one thing.
Finally.
But I like pawn at d6 or rook takes c7, either way around. Pawn at d6 first is also possible, maybe.
So the idea that we
pawn at d6, but queen takes c6 is probably.
But probably rook takes c7 first, yeah.
So rook takes c7 first.
And then pawn at d6.
By the way, too much time on this. I can't. I mean, it's tough to pace yourself when you think that it's a key moment. But
did I actually consider A4?
I think he burned
I didn't consider A4. That's a nice one.
Wondering B takes A4. I didn't have a follow-up. Rook takes A4, perhaps. Rook takes A4 and knight at D8.
Rook B1, maybe.
Sorry, rook takes A4, queen takes A4.
Knight at D8.
Oh, knight at D8.
Here, guys. Ooh.
Yeah, rook B1.
Why didn't he play rook C7? Ooh.
He wants to take more pieces along the way.
Yes.
Understood.
Yep. You're just preparing an easy pawn to capture on B3. Knight at B6. Knight at B6 was huge. Knight at B6 winning the queen, surely.
Okay, but he does have.
Still good, are these passed pawns, because he can take on B3 anytime.
Well, queen takes F3, you have to be very careful. Queen takes F3.
Yeah, queen takes F3
could. He should have played rook takes B3 and pawn to C7. Ooh, I think.
Yeah, but queen takes F3 is very strong. Okay.
The pawn at C7 here.
Oh, he's blundered.
I was going for no. This is king B6, bishop D8, bishop D8. This is beautiful. B takes A4. What? What?
So what is B?
No, knight D2.
Take it.
You take it, and knight at F3 is going to get me.
Rook H1 is mate, guys. Knight takes H1, knight E2. So rook H1 is a mating idea.
It's a mate. I agree.
Bishop at B5, mates. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
what a game.
I think Jasugi missed stuff there with the rook at H1 earlier, but it's okay.
Opper won that in true opperwezen style. That was opperwezen style. No one saw that coming. The way he did it.
Bishop B5. Oh, that was boss. By the way, finally a reprieve from the French.
No more E4. This could be the first non-E4.
After 42 games, we have a D4.
Yep.
Yay.
And he's gone straight for H6, G5. So he had this in mind, it seems. And
okay, so bishop B5 with the idea of knight F3 to E5.
So here white would like black to play G4 and go knight G2, knight F4.
Knight F4.
That's the setup that white's looking for.
That's the setup.
So that's to displace that first. So white's basically looking for a game where there's no weaknesses and black has some. And black's looking for high activity as soon as he can get it.
And the reason for h4, h5 is that white wants, as you say, to put a knight on f4, but he doesn't want knight f6 to h5 to stop.
Hit the bishop on g3 as well, potentially.
Okay, bishop came out to f5. Now, knight f4?
Yeah, knight f4 is logical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this bishop h7. And sometimes you want to go c5, d4 here.
I love this for white. I think that the knight on e5 is just, unfortunately for black, just tremendous. What? If he takes on c5?
Yeah, d4. Yeah, the Kleerkast just called this. Kleerkast just called this d4.
I like these positions a lot. I would like to put the pawn on g4 back to g6, but aside from that, everything is okay in this position.
So are you okay with pawn at g6? You're okay with pawn at g6?
Exactly. Thank you. He could have taken on c5, allowed d4, and then put a pawn on g6. And I think that that's just...
He's done it in a way that doesn't allow d4, I suppose. Though this is not critical. Like, you're not shaking in your boots here with black because you've already bolstered yourself so much up on the king side. So here you're going, well,
I'm
let's
shaking
bolster
in
some
my
more.
boots. I'm still shaking, Justin. What am I doing after?
I thought he'd take the bishop and keep going with diagonals, actually. I don't mind him taking the rook.
But again, I want to take on c5. I want to allow you to play d4 so I can go queen b3 check and then put a pawn on g6 as well. I think this is killing, actually.
That's very hard to find counterplay just yet.
Yes, for the moment it's true.
You can't even take all because of knight at e5 in the end there.
Oh, this is... Now it's over. It's badly over, in fact.
It was very quickly spotted.
Yeah.
No, something went wrong here.
Yeah,
it's going to take on g6, so you have to... If you take on d5.
I do take on d5, of course, because I've got this knight c7 check idea.
I think you want to go pawn f7 first. Now the knight is free on d5.
King up.
I didn't quite follow that.
Oh, the queen was covering. It's just as free,
anyway. Yeah.
It was free. Yeah. Knight at c7. Yeah, right. You're completely.
Yeah. Boom.
Right.
Ooh, that d4. I'm telling you guys, d4. That's the problem. Yeah.
One d4.
These French defenses, man. I'm not 100%.
I was gonna keep the king on the king side, but after king e8, everything works for white. I don't know. I don't think it was much better, but king e8 was dead in the water.
Yeah, it's very. I like this h4 h5 idea against the h6 g5.
Perhaps when the knight is on g1, should you take on h4 instead of pushing g4?
Maybe.
You should take.
I've taken on h4.
I think so,
yeah.
Neil.
It's different if the knight's committed to f3. Yeah. So when it's still on g1, I don't like allowing that knight f4 setup. But I didn't mind the position Opper got out of the opening. It's just not simple to defend.
Justin, if I can ask you, how do we stand on the donations? Are you off the hook at all, or are you still on the hook?
What does being off the hook mean, though?
Well, you guaranteed
yes
the prize of 2,000.
Yeah, so there's 1,000 of the 2,000 that's been donated. So we've hit 50% of the target, which is phenomenal. The previous year, it was like the players will get a share of what gets donated. So I thought it's just better this year to guarantee it up front. And I just didn't have that much time this year to do as many streams. So there's not as much opportunity for people to get on and donate live. But no, I think something okay did mention at chat. If we do reach a target of 2,000, then I'm happy to guarantee the 2,000 again next year. So we'll put it into next year. That's the thing. So it's not just reimbursing this year. It's for longevity of our tradition here. I like white already. I'm gonna say.
I do too. This queen on h4. It's kind of a leap of faith that you'll get something going on over there, but he's got nothing in hand. What's it going to do there?
Yeah, this position plays itself in my head.
For white, you play bishop f4. Oh, he took on e4. Didn't think that was necessary, but still, it looks great for white, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like that black queen on h4 is something to hit, as long as black can't get an opportunity to coordinate with some other pieces quickly. And bishop at d6 is picking up a queen here. But
nicely. Now, if they put a pawn on c7, and I don't think that's a good move, but if they do you take the pawn on c7 or the queen?
I think I'd take the pawn. I'd take the pawn.
Take the pawn and bishop d6 back, and you're knight at c7.
Boy, you guys are greedy.
Yes, it's like it's another one of those moments. It's like a light bulb just appeared on three heads here in my screen, and everyone's like, bishop takes c7, duh.
Hey, just
we learned pawn grabbing from the best, right?
Yes. Who, me? What?
Yeah, you see a pawn, you grab it.
What about a juicier offer? If knight at c7, do you take the knight or do you take the queen?
Probably still the knight.
Oh, well, guess what? The question is being...
No, knight at b5 here.
The upper.
No, it doesn't
b5,
work.
I like.
Queen takes d6, knight takes d6 maybe, but... I kind of want to... I nearly think bishop takes c7, king takes, and d5.
Yeah.
And if knight takes e5, I'd go bishop f4.
There's also maybe queen b3 ideas, bringing the queen in the game.
But knight g3, okay,
knight
well,
g3.
Completely different.
That was
worried about pawn at f3.
I think he had right, but what's
you know what?
To d5?
This is a brilliant time-burning move. Like, Jasugi would be set up here for bishop takes e7, bishop takes c7, and then it's like, what? You didn't take either. Like, and I'm already low on time. Now knight at b5. Now knight at b5.
Yes, knight to b5 looks great, because then in case of rook c8 or something, you can take and you can actually use the rook as a defense. You can go rook in hand to g4. I'd just sit
on black here. Knight at b5, bishop at b6, rook e1, and I'd just frustrate Jasugi and just say, how are you going to get activity?
Do your worst, yeah. Here, I was going to say, I personally would take the rook and go rook to g4.
Whoa!
I'm telling you, these guys are good. Nobody believes me.
Well, Opper is so unique that there's moves named after him. We call them Opper moves.
Yeah.
That was one of them. Or A4 in the previous game.
It's really sad for me. Sometimes I'll sometimes play like what I think is a brilliant move, and then someone in chat will just say, "Oh, that was an Opper move." Like, come on, save some for me.
Where's the love? Where's the love? Exactly. Okay, he went knight to c5. Intriguing.
Yeah, rook takes f7. Just grind.
Yeah, I think he's about to do that. Maybe drop a pawn on f7.
Pawn on a6 also.
Yeah, I'd
at the right time.
I'd fill up the ammo first and
take on f7 first.
Yeah.
He's gone another way.
Wow. Okay, he's not afraid of knight h3 check.
He wants to keep the rook on g7 for defense.
So if you're playing Bughouse as black, rook good. But we're not playing Bughouse, so you're stuck.
Look at this move. What a dirty move. Pawn to h3.
Would you go f3 in defense?
Yeah, I'd just go f3 and say GG.
I'm going to go knight takes d4 then, maybe, if you go f3.
I'd go f3 resigns.
Okay. F3 resigns. That's strong.
Well, I think he would resign if he played f3. I actually do.
I'm taking the queen, by the way, and saying with the beautiful rook on g7.
Yeah, what a defender.
What a great defender.
Yeah, queen takes e2 is
Just
fine.
take it.
Just take it. There's nothing wrong with queen takes e2.
Take all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just
Rook
dropped
at G8.
queen on F1 first. But
Yeah.
yes, of course, rook to G8 is on the agenda right now.
Bishop at g4 and well, you can
Bishop
attack.
at G4. Oh, that's a good move too.
But see, this is different. Op is a whole minute up here.
Oh.
He's taking no risk, and he's just
Beautiful
gonna
play,
sail
by the way.
to victory. Oh, just in case, we'll put a rook on h3 and win with defense.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
go bishop
Bishop
g5.
G5.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for the pawn. We need to. I thought he was going to play pawn to d7 on his last turn. He did not. But
Knight at
Oh.
f6.
He really likes this knight on f6. Huh?
this is really. Neil, he kind of got back to you. Pawn to b5, threatening pawn to a6.
Okay, so you got to stop pawn at h3. That will
Is
hurt.
knight at c5 coming? Knight at c5 and queen c7.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Knight to c5 is coming.
Yep, stop pawn
you
at
heard
h3.
The pawn to h3. Pawn to g4, perhaps, or knight back to f4.
Yep. We're just not gonna risk anything. Stay up on the
I
floor.
know. I mean, talk about it.
It's like he took
Having
notes
your
from my.
cake.
He
Going
took
to break a
notes from my
record for the
commentary.
longest number of moves. Was it 73 last time?
Yeah, we're only
The
at
idea is
54.
rook h5, you make a queen. Okay.
Yep, queen takes
Ooh,
e2
that's-
is on.
Threatening knight.
Oh, still wins it
c5
on
check
b2.
as well.
Queen takes b2.
Takes c6.
c6. Okay.
It's just.
Jasugi had
It's
it.
just.
Wow,
he wants
7-7,
Jasugi.
guys.
Yeah, he wants
Yeah.
Jasugi to resign.
Yeah, that's it.
Jasugi's
Very
threshold
nice.
is plus 50 for his opponent.
That was
He
one
can
of the-
outplay you from less than plus 50, but plus 50 is too much.
Where the guy says, "Okay, I resign." You go, "No, I don't want you to resign."
Alright, we got another
Okay,
donation.
Finally, I
Sycomatic.
like this bishop h6. Yay!
Yay,
He's
bishop
done it the way
h6.
I like.
Sycomatic with a donation of $9.62. It says 101010. I think he's calling out the last few results. Victories
And
for
if queen
white.
e2, would you go knight b4?
Knight
Yeah, but the knight
b4.
is now developed to d2 instead of c3. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
quite different. That makes e3 more of a weakness. King f2.
Wow.
Okay, guys, this is
Okay.
definitely not book. Anyone watching, we'll just
No.
clarify it in case you were wondering.
By the way, instead of the move bishop f5, which I think is okay, I would have preferred to play g6, bishop g7 castles and play for the f6 break that we've talked about in previous games. Whoa!
Could I get that in
Bishop
writing? Did you just
E3.
elect for an f6 plan twice this
Yeah,
stream?
only when I was like completely covered though.
We've got it on video, Justin.
No, I want it in writing too. I don't believe it.
It's gonna be a deep fake video, indeed.
Deep fake, yes, correct. Deep fake. Okay, what was that a great idea? Oh,
Yeah, pawn at g4 is gonna weaken d4. I think this is very nice. Yeah,
So you
I-
Maybe you want to provoke pawn at e3
pawn
and
at
go
e3
e6.
even.
Yeah, and then king
Well,
f1 takes d2 and you go
love-
e6 as white. It's just to try to stir things up.
Yeah, you've called a lot of the moves so far, Kleerkast.
Yeah, nice.
No
Yeah,
e6
so
preventative.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. Because the knight on d2, well, where's it going?
Well, knight to b3. Having the knight is nice, right, for white.
Yeah, knight
Yeah, it's
b3.
nice,
You
but-
want to cover d4.
Knight is a knight.
Thank you. That's what. That's why we're getting paid the big bucks, guys. we got to call him the way we see him.
Yeah, but here you go. What do you do with
Opperwezen
black?
played e6 because he was scared for white's e6.
Yeah,
So I
he
like
was.
how Jasugi handled that.
Yeah, he got the most out of his threat without even playing it.
Yeah.
But here with black, you're like, okay, now what? I didn't see King
Precisely.
F2 as an idea, actually. That was quite
I
nice.
would be so confused if I was watching a stream for the first time. You got guys sacking a knight on move 2 and then saving a knight on move 13, 14.
Right. Exactly, Neil. I mean, when does material count in this game? I mean, it's so hard. This variant is so difficult. At the moment, I'm looking and I'm thinking white is just killing it here.
Okay, so
I mean,
Black is
sack one
starving.
piece, yeah. Bishop C5.
Yeah, bishop
And he's
c5,
done it.
pawn at g4.
Pawn at g4. Thank you. I was wondering, this has to be a
Yeah,
follow-up
we're
because
streaming.
otherwise it's just over.
It's
Alright.
even pawn at
do we have-
e4 maybe. Yeah,
Pawn at
and you
E4.
open up the queen. The queen trade might be a possibility.
Okay, fifth commentator's just joined everyone.
Yay.
Oh,
Yeah.
someone was already commenting that the winner of this match gets to play an exhibition match with Bella.
Okay, you hear that, Bella? So the winner of this match gets to play you. How about that?
Yay.
Is that a good idea?
I think it's a great idea. Okay,
she's
white
given
needs
her-
a good move here.
I think what Oppa's done is right. You just have to go in and get something moving. Otherwise, knight at g4 and white was just going to, make use of the material, and then
Right.
you're sad. So
But
nice.
what do
Queen
we do
A4
after this move?
picking
though?
up. Yeah,
Pawn on e4. This looks over.
yeah. White's role is just to call black's bluff here.
Okay, so
I
king
think he's
f8, queen
he might try
e4,
queen d7 here.
Queen
I think he wants to
d7.
try queen d7 and then pawn at d3 if you take on e4. Okay, I don't get
Well,
all the
could-
moves.
The Kleerkast, could he have taken on d7 and then go queen a4 check again, though?
Yeah, queen at
And
c6.
then queen at c6.
Queen at
Would've been-
c6, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a...
Can you
But
see
still the same idea here. If you want to go push e2 and open up the bishop.
Yeah, that diagonal is hard to block. The a7 g1 diagonal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you could try knight at d6, but the king just goes to f8, I think.
Do you put
Okay,
a-
Black
so-
bishops are very nice here.
So I don't mind losing the knight on e2. I just have to do it in a nice way, though.
Queen
You really have to
C4.
control the
Ooh.
trades if you're losing the knight on e2.
Yeah, so d takes e2,
I think-
queen takes c5 is the idea, and he's saying you don't have the pawn you need.
Well, there is queen to d1 check.
Yeah,
though,
we
and
gotta
I
And
look
then
out for
block
that.
with the knight. You have to block with the knight. And
block with knight.
then
You done
then you're
it?
threatening knight at c7 and queen d6 as
I was
some moves
actually
like that.
considering castling instead of d takes e2.
yeah, because the king is going to be in trouble on e8 here.
Yeah,
was
it
the
was
last
worthwhile.
chance.
That was, yeah, there's no turning back now. Queen
Okay.
d1.
So knight at e1.
Knight, can we take the
Yeah.
queen? Or you
I
didn't,
wouldn't
you didn't
take-
want to?
No, I
You
think
would
there's
not.
I
knight.
think there's mate.
There's
there.
promote knight at e2, rook at f2. is
Yeah,
mate.
that was mate. Shh, close that door, please.
Knight at f2 is mate.
Shh. Yeah, so
Well-
rook takes d1, e takes d1, queen, bishop at e1, knight at e2 check, king f1, rook at f2 mate.
That's the mate. Thank you.
The bishop is pinned and the rook is covering.
But this is winning for
Gotcha.
white.
Yeah, Opper is gonna lose on time here. I
Lose on
think.
time,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The problem was that if he takes the rook, there's pawn to d7 check.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But
Or
well,
even
enough.
knight at c7 is also winning as well.
Yeah, so castles was the last chance, it seems.
I think castles instead of d takes, because you could castle queen takes e5, d takes e2, and it's like you just got to castle through check in that
Mhm.
late position. Because you were the king side was so well set up for defense.
Mm. By the way, just want to give a big shout out to everybody in the audience. Thank you, each and every one of you, for joining us for this Crazyhouse World Championship. As always, gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be calling it alongside you all. It's much closer than day one. Why is that? What has Opper done in his adjustment?
I think he's warm. That's
Yeah, he's warmed up.
That's simple.
I think he's really taking Justin's advice that when he has the advantage and the initiative, instead of trying to find a killer blow, he's just taking his time, just chomping pieces, not in a hurry to deliver checkmate.
Yeah, that's my personal tip is don't kill Jasugi by mating him. You just don't let him mate you until he resigns. So not that he does that, but it just sets you in the right mindset to to put it straight, to not get bullshitted out of a winning position, pretty much. I think Katask says that I always have bullshit radar on against Jasugi, and that when I get a leading position, it doesn't seem to crumble. And I think that's actually really important. I completely get what he's saying when he says that. This looks so good for white already.
I was about to say, bishop b4 check. By the way, I like playing bishop d2, and please trade and develop me. But pawn to c3, that somehow.
What was the problem playing c2 to c3?
Yeah, I would have played c2 to c3. I think he wanted
in any
to.
case, he's got this. This looks great for white. Sorry, please.
He wants to go sacrifice some stuff and then even get the queen in the game, and then doesn't want to walk into a knight at c2. I think that's the point.
Yep. He's just gone a little bit safer today, and it does count. There's also a thing, if you don't know your theoretical line really well, particularly in a match like this, you should not play into it. You should play something practical, something that's easy to play. More donations. See Zeus, I'm going to say $5. Thank you for the support.
Oh, thanks.
So nice. E6, what are we taking with, guys? Knight. We're taking with the knight.
Another thing I noticed.
Sorry, go ahead, Neil.
Yep. I was going to say that players tend to prepare more with black because you need a reliable opening with black, not just to get busted in 10 or 12 moves. And so with the white pieces, you often see players play a little bit safer, like opperwezen is doing here, just to avoid this, these really sharp lines where the opponent's prepared something specifically.
I was going to go queen g4 actually.
I'm with you 100% on that. I thought queen g4 played itself. I also thought that pawn in hand to d5 or pawn in hand to e5 were also really scrum-delicious, great moves for.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I like this again. I like this again. Realizing there's no pawn.
Yeah, that's a key point from Kleerkast there. No pawn at f6 blocker, and then you get a nice pin which you can utilize later. So you don't have to kill black here. You just keep saying, well, I'm making progress without stepping backwards. So he's allowing bishop takes g2.
He's not playing knight takes g7.
Yeah,
well, trying to keep the king running away to d8.
I was thinking, how do you not play pawn to c5 there? But yeah, I understand. I mean, but pawn to f4, okay, that was creative in my view.
Pawn at h6 is another move.
Yeah, so here
out to f6.
I was going to say here, Kleerkast.
Ooh, that's a nasty move as well. Oh, he took it that way. I like that bishop on g5. I like it a lot.
Yeah, the double check though is just so juicy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're gonna take on
either
d6.
one, but probably the bishop d6.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
Because if the king runs back, you can take on
queen
c7.
e6. This is made,
queen e6,
isn't it? Queen e7, king g8.
Well,
it's made.
Knight hanging with check.
Queen e6 was made.
That was convincing.
Well,
that was very convincing.
Queen e6 was made Kleerkast because you take on, and then on g7 and you just take on f6 and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you go bishop at h6 and force the queen to sacrifice itself, and you take on f6. Just everything crumbles.
Gotcha.
So here we go again, back to game one, and Oppa hasn't played knight g4. Oh, he does now. But he allowed bishop e2.
Yeah.
And but Jasugi has the knight on d2. I think he got into trouble with that last game, not putting the knight on c3.
Yeah, I felt Oppo got a good position out of the opening, but then after that pawn at e3, king g1, maybe you had to take the knight on d2 and allow e6 and allow that one to play out, because otherwise white was just better. It's like
it was very critical.
Yeah, he barked at Jasugi without biting him. That was a problem.
Yeah, a nice analogy.
Okay, are we taking on d3 and then making a fortress with bishop to g6 and pawn to f6?
Yeah, so bishop at g6, knight at f4. I guess for the viewers, why bishop at g6 happens a lot is on some day this e-pawn moves, and we move the bishop out from f8, and you don't want knight at h5 to come in. So bishop at g6 hitting the pawn on d3 is often idea. This is just to stop knight at e5 or knight at g5. So bishop at g6, and if knight at f4, then e5 makes sense. Then knight takes, h takes, and you've got a brick sitting in front of your king on the f and g file.
Like bricks, if they're solid.
Yeah.
Besides, I read my Three Little Piggies. Straw, wooden brick.
I wonder if Jasugi has some rook takes c7 idea in mind.
Yeah, well, that put an end to that one.
Yeah.
Wow, rook takes c7.
Do you remember that move? That was one of the most spectacular moves in the previous series.
Yeah, pawn at b6 and knight at c7 was the idea there.
Exactly.
I actually like how Opper's playing. He's just saying, I'm going to not let Jasugi attack, and I'll develop slowly. There'll be e5, that's going to be mine.
Right.
There'll be h5 possibly.
Pawn at g6 if you need more safety.
The pawn at c6 if you want. There's no rush.
I like if black plays his last pawn, there's maybe some knight at h5 ideas. Mm-hmm. Then knight at h6 is sometimes a move. Where if you take on h6, the g7 square becomes open. But he's doing it on the other side of the board.
That's a problem. Knight at a5. I didn't see that.
Pawn to c6 move.
You can't defend.
I thought e7, e6 was just okay. I mean, just
e7, e6 was okay. This is losing a pawn and more than that.
Okay, but now there's knight a5. Yeah.
Queen trap.
Queen trap.
Is that part of the plan?
Take a rook and oops.
Take a rook and pawn at a7 and rook at b8.
This is nice.
King
if you
takes.
Take with the king, knight at b6.
Knight at b6.
King e7. So king e7.
I told you to watch out for these pawn at d7 check.
King e7, he's going to play knight at c8 and force king takes d7 anyway, I think.
Oh, but no, if you go king e7, I take the rook and then I put that on c8.
It's a nice move, pawn at d7.
It was a beauty. That was a beauty.
It was a beauty.
When the computers do that against me, it's sort of like,
we call that the Jasugi move, right? If there's an Opper move, there also has to be a Jasugi move.
Jasugi move.
I think there's the Jasugi swindle is a fair term.
Wow. Okay, where's the knockout, guys?
I don't think we're at knockout phase. It could be queen at a7 and rook
queen
at
b8.
Queen at
a7, rook at b8, yeah. Exactly. I like queen at g4 as well.
a7, rook to b8. I like that.
h5?
Yeah, queen g4.
Can I get away with h5 here?
h5? What?
Whoa, why f5? Oh, he wants queen takes pawn to e6. But now he's inviting queen f7. Again, the same d7 move, by the way. A killer blow this game. Bishop
now he's looking at queen takes e6 for sure.
Sack it.
But the king is safe on f8, I think.
He had enough.
Made in one threat coming.
Enough.
Yeah. Okay, that was...
so Jasugi's going to hold his lead by the end of this.
Never got going. The pieces overran the fortress before it could, be established. Cobra Kai. That's pretty good.
We see the drawback of putting the pawn on too early.
I think the best commentary we've had so far came out of the chat.
No mercy.
Cobra Kai. I think Cobra Kai won best comment of the evening. I made the mistake of watching Mortal Kombat on Netflix the other day. Oh, sometimes you think to yourself, what were these guys thinking making a movie as bad as that?
The game was very good back in the day.
I'm sure
Mortal
Kombat
Kombat and Street Fighter.
Yeah,
it just got more and more brutal as the new episodes came out.
Right. Blood spatter was. Okay, he's repeated Queen H4.
Yeah, this didn't go well for Jasugi last time.
It really didn't. I mean, I'm not quite sure what he's finding attractive. I think last time he went something like Knight C3.
Just Knight BC3. Okay, Knight G3 you can. I just feel with the king castled already. Let's get the queen side developed and have Knight B5 as an option.
Yeah. Here, I'm all for Knight C3 once again. I don't want to play en passant and open up files against my king on the king side.
You might just go for pawn at A6.
These guys aren't as good as I thought they were.
I was worried about F4, the F4 push.
Sorry,
probably.
what was that, Neil?
F4 was coming as well. With
F4 push was
stuff
coming.
happening there.
Yeah, well, there I was ready to sacrifice a piece.
I thought so. It looked all right for white, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yes, exactly. But here I'm a little bit concerned that black might be getting something going with, I don't know, Rook G8 or what do you guys think?
Knight takes C3, Knight at G4 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Knight at F3 in response.
Ah, yeah, that's good. So I missed them. I put the knight in my own hand, but I don't give one to my opponent. It happens too often in my own games.
No, this is showing greed, and greed is good.
Greed is good. It is the sin after all.
Exactly.
So queen takes E4. You're going bishop at F3 or knight at C5? Could be knight at C5.
Could be knight at C5.
Yeah, and then bishop takes C6 and knight at E7, and white wins.
But yeah, as mate.
No,
or something like that. Yeah.
Now, bishop on F3. I was about to say queen sacrifice, Justin. This is
well, yeah. If you don't sack the queen, white also has the option bishop takes C6 and knight at E7 because black had to go to F5 or G6. So one way or another, white was winning the queen. But then a bishop on C6, firing down the king's side, could have been preferable.
Here I'm super afraid of queen A8 check and A6. But I was afraid that king B8 would be just too slow because of A6.
Yeah, he's gonna go pawn D6 again and pawn C7, same as last game in this line.
Yeah, it looks like white is really fast.
Yeah, and if you go a move like bishop A5, knight at C4 probably.
Can you play B4 here?
Or B4, yeah, nice. I was about to say B4, and you threaten queen takes B7 if you take with the knight.
Yeah, he spotted it.
Is that a bluff though? Knight takes B4, queen takes B7, king takes, knight at C5, king C6. Right. Can I run to E7? Oh, he's gonna test him.
He's gonna test him.
I think Jasugi spotted a run to E7. That's what I think.
I'm still very reluctant there to believe. I think
that's a bluff. But it's a good bluff.
Take on C7 first, maybe.
Okay.
Take on C7.
And then you have some pawn at E5 ideas.
Yes, you don't lose the pawn.
If the king runs to D6, you don't lose the pawn. Exactly.
Ooh, he's heard you. Now queen takes B7. That's no. Okay.
Whoa. That's a surprise. He ducked. Okay, he didn't duck.
He's still protecting his path to E7. just for the viewers.
Because
So it's queen takes b7, takes knight at c5, king c6, queen to b7, king d6. He's trying to get to safety on the king's side.
And then we take on e5 with check.
So rook b1 now, then maybe. Bishop at
But
c6.
the bishop at c6 is gonna be a problem.
Defend.
But then no, bishop
bishop.
e6, you can take it, and then bishop
Yeah,
takes f3,
bishop
knight at
c6
a6.
maybe.
King c8 has knight at e7, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So
Another knight in hand makes all the difference. Now maybe you can sack the queen if you allowed it.
Yeah, no, I was about
Now
to
knight
say,
takes b4 defense.
Knight takes b4, 7. Ooh.
I was gonna be greedy and
this
take
should be-
b4 as black, but you've got 8 seconds.
yeah, this is gonna win. I feel for white.
Still
Yeah.
not completely clear. Bishop b7.
Time is the issue for black here.
Take on.
Too hard to defend now.
Oh,
Knight
bring
takes
knight back
d8.
and queen at b7. Oh, that's good
Yeah.
enough.
Ooh. That was the double queen to b7.
Yeah,
It wasn't
you
just a
cannot
single
defend
queen
that.
was going
You cannot defend that.
Yeah. It was like you put a bishop on d5 and you think you're proud of yourself.
So 9-9, 2 more to go.
Yeah.
I actually predicted this time to go to 10-10. The people were asking.
Oh, okay.
earlier.
Oh,
We'll see. We'll
nobody
see if
made
I
the
get it right.
predictions. Oh, nice. Okay, he's playing for the fortress variation one more time.
He can do better with the pawns this time.
Let's hope
Maybe
so.
knight
That was-
g4 here. Oh. Well, like you said, Yasser, I thought these guys were better.
Exactly. Exactly. They're losing a lot of capital on it. I think they're I think they're getting tired. That's my guess, Jess.
No, they're doing.
Okay.
They're both doing very well.
He's actually just a move or two away. If he puts his pawn on g6, plays bishop e7, everybody loves black. Now, this move, rook e1, Kramnik's move, when he didn't know what to do, he just.
I remember.
It's damn good. I mean, it's a
Bishop
really
e6,
good
plug
idea.
up the e file.
Yeah, I like that. But you mentioned, Neil, that I think it was knight h5 that was bothersome.
The thing is,
Yeah, but if there's no pawn in
Wait till
hand
the
for
bishop
black.
moves.
I just
wait till the bishop moves. Yeah.
I just don't think pawn at g6 is a candidate move for Opper. That's the thing.
No?
I just
it's
feel
too
he
passive.
will think it's too passive, and he'd prefer to have it in hand and do something active with it, even if knight at h5 undoes him a few times. I just don't think pawn at g6 is a candidate move for Opper.
Whoa, rook to g8. I don't like that move. That means his king is not going. King side is not going queen side. Not with a pawn on a6.
He's
that
just staying in the
means that-
middle. He's staying in the middle.
Yeah, he's stuck. Is essentially what that move says to me. I don't like rook g8.
Yeah, bishop h7 is now a threat.
Big time threat. Yeah, and he's covered
He's
it.
played g6.
Yeah, g6, bishop d6, king f8, king g7, king h8.
Lots of luck on that one. What about, is knight h6 bothersome or not? C4.
Okay, could we take that one?
Well,
I got
then he's going to play bishop to e4.
Alright, one more donation to call out.
Bishop e4.
Row Your Boat
Donations were
has
so
donated $20. That's another big donation. Says happy holidays, everyone, and thanks to commentary team for helping expand the community. Indeed,
You bet.
fantastic to have this.
Does
team
he want to
expand.
play bishop take c4 and pawn at d7 again?
Yeah, look like
And then
it.
knight takes e5, knight at f6 check.
Good call, Neil. You
Both
got
spot,
it.
and he
That's
played
what
pawn at
wanted.
d7 anyway.
Whoa. Ooh.
Wow.
Okay, now it's
There's
getting
no
funky.
compulsion
This
to
is
take that.
good.
You think
But
king
he's getting
e7?
busted on d5. Pawn at d7
Getting
again?
bested on d5.
Yeah, why not? Pawn at d7 again.
Man, it's only worked 3 times.
Fourth time a charm.
Yes. Okay, now something like knight
Knight at A.
No.
Knight at A5?
Knight at A5. You just take queen takes E5
Oh.
maybe.
Yeah.
Knight
Well,
on
it's
A5.
still-
It's not easy though.
Yeah,
Knight at A5
because
looks...
of the X-ray down the E file. You're almost thinking that a move like Knight F7 and Bishop F4 might work because of Rook E8. But okay, probably
I
we're
was
all
thinking
getting
about
tired.
something like that as well. Knight takes F7, Bishop C5, maybe.
Yeah.
You've got to be really accurate here with white because black can get away with stealing material, and if black lives, then black will win the game long term. But I think knight at A5 is the one that keeps the pressure on. Queen takes E5 is nearly forced, I feel. And then knight takes B7, king takes D7, and then something bad happens on the E file. But
I think you pegged it perfectly. Something bad happens on the E file.
so maybe it's bishop
D
D4
file as well.
Bishop
You're gonna
D4.
take on D5 eventually.
Maybe it's Queen A4 even a move.
Queen takes B2
Maybe
here
his
though.
queen?
So
Maybe
he's
the
looking for
queen's
bishop
trapped?
takes D5. That's what he's looking for.
Yeah, the queen's trapped on the middle of the board here.
Queen takes B2, bishop takes D5, bishop
Precisely.
D6. So
Well,
yeah,
then
I mean,
we've got the knight taking, and looks like it's over. This looks.
Jasugi's really forcing the issue here. It's very
Sorry,
nice.
Kleerkast, did you say 10-10?
Yeah, I did.
Well, we would be on schedule.
Yeah, last few games, white wins every game.
Sometimes it
pawn
goes like
C2.
that. Ooh, but I don't think you can
Didn't you just
afford
take
to
it?
trade queens.
Take the queen.
And then the queen's still trapped. Because queen takes
Queens
C2.
and rook A takes D1.
I think he wants to take the bishop, maybe. And go bishop at
bishop
C6.
at C6. Yeah.
It's not helping, but it's okay. At least you have some coverage.
Oh.
Ooh, this was his idea, but
Oh.
King H1.
King H1. Knight takes F4.
Pawn F3 he wants.
Okay, Jasugi not allowing knight takes F4.
he didn't want to allow
So
knight
king
F4.
H1,
Okay.
bishop takes H3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good move. Good move. Very good move.
But watch out for bishop B5 ideas, maybe. Opening the queen. But I don't know if they will work. But
Opper's got play out of a nearly unplayable position. That's, I mean,
Truly.
it's not concrete yet, but the
I have to
queen.
admire that he's struggled through this.
can you take pawn H3, pawn G4, queen F5, maybe? Okay, he doesn't.
There's a lot of pawns on those light squares. Still 3 pawns in hand.
Yeah, the time's ticking down for Jasugi as well, and now king G1, pawn at G2 is playable because
and
you've
then
got the rook at
and
H1
knight at
mate
H3
threat.
eventually.
Yep. Alright, I got to call out
So
Tainted
what's going-
Streetlight, a donation of $10. Says go Jasugi.
Okay, where do we go here, guys? H1.
G1's
Critical.
H1,
He's just short
So
of one
pawn at
pawn.
G2 is not a mate threat.
No, it doesn't work.
No.
That's why he came the king up first and then reversed to consume. So
Yeah.
the rook. Now that's a mate threat. Pawn at G6. He's got
No, it is a mate.
Queen H5 ideas.
Queen H5 now.
Queen H5.
Get yourself
You
out of
could
dodge.
You could still. No, Queen H5. You
Block
put
on
the pawn
H4.
H4.
Yeah, block
But
on
that's
H4,
fine.
yeah.
That was progress. I mean, black was dead in the water.
Block with
Totally.
the pawn, yeah, that's needed.
Okay, so you're threatening bishop G2.
So he goes for the
that was
safety.
a good coverage move. Knight
I would have
to
blocked with the
C5 now.
bishop.
Take everything.
You
Okay.
Yeah, you
can
want
run.
bishop at
You
G2.
run.
You can
I
run
think
to H8. You were talking about this.
Here we go, yeah, here we go.
Oh, yay. Oh no, he could have put a bishop on E7 and
knight at
taken on
E6 though.
F6.
Knight at E6 ideas.
He's running. No, he's
No,
taking.
he's not. Oh,
Oh
what's
my
going
goodness.
Oh,
No,
bishop
no,
on F6
that's going to be a
kills.
killer.
on? Oh, that was a killer. Oh,
Opper made him work
what
for
a
it.
contest.
Opper made
What
him
a
work for it,
contest.
though.
Oh, he sure did. I mean, no, seriously. I mean, Opper was like, dead. How he got play out of that was remarkable.
That was dangerous for a moment.
That was a great.
Because Jasugi was in time
that's a
pressure that
game.
whole time.
Yeah, to my mind, that felt like a game that decides world championships. You know.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The D4 here.
White was cruising so nicely, and then suddenly it was like, what? It became a mess. What's pawn to G4 here by the
pawn at
guys?
E4 or G4? I thought looks all right. Maybe G4 because G4 is better defended than E4 in the long run. He's given up the D4. Is there something here? Queen to C4? I don't know. This looks like a pawn blunder.
Opper's playing very fast out of the opening. Maybe he's just still thinking about the previous game.
So yeah, of course.
It's either that or he knows something.
Queen to C4, you take on C2, I guess. And I was
Queen takes F7 is not a decisive threat.
Okay. Yeah, I would take the rook on A1. Queen at D3 makes sense.
E5?
Yeah, E5.
Yeah, just
Black's got a nice opening.
Doing here. I like that move. That was a good move. Bishop. I was about to suggest Bishop F5, but he played knight E2 too quickly.
I think Jasugi
knows. You
knows.
Be careful for Queen B5, Queen takes E5 stuff.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
No knight blockers on C6.
Oh, Queen B5 allowed. Opper will snap that up in a heartbeat. No.
Okay, goes Queen C4.
He was going there, but he got stuck.
Well, now there is a mate threat because of knight at E6.
Correct.
Okay, so Queen D7 covering up. Or then you just sacrifice the queen.
Take everything on F7.
Gotcha. I agree. That looks really good. And Bishop E6, do you just take on C7 then? G2 will be hanging.
Yeah, I guess.
It's always castle's queenside to get out of the way if queen at H1.
H2 castle's queenside made on the 8th threat.
So
there's a knight blocking on B1 in case of queen at A1.
But that's what I'm doing, right? I'm going queen A1, knight to B1, and then pawn to D4.
This looks dangerous.
Whoa, he's threatening knight C7.
Yeah, knight at C7. Can you be sharp and take H1 here because you actually pin the rook from taking D4.
Important.
Yes. Very nice.
I don't think Black had to allow this.
What other moves does Jasugi have? Can he defend this position? He has to go for it.
Knight at C7 is the move.
I was thinking about queen. Should he have thrown in queen A1 check was my big question.
You gotta be careful because sometimes king D2 allows. Oh, I thought he'd go to D7, not D8.
Because queen C7 check is a mate threat after you take the rook.
Okay, you take the. I see.
Queen takes D4 is probably thinking about. And then knight takes E6 ideas.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think
probably
maybe knight takes
D6.
Knight takes A8 here, I think.
Knight takes A8 is really the problem, right?
So knight takes A8, like if rook at A1 or queen A1, you've got a rook to cover B1, and then you capture D1 with the knight, and then your king's safe. Then the game goes on. Otherwise, you're committing yourself to go all in, and you might not be on top. So you could be thinking queen takes D4 here. That's actually another play. No, he's gone knight takes A8. I agree with that.
Queen takes D1 first, I guess.
Then knight takes D1. There's nothing on the king because black doesn't have the knight. And pawn at C7.
I think Kleerkast's prediction is going to be right.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Pawn at C7 is a real problem. Rook at B1. White has just enough to hold the queen side. It's That's why Bugzilla would say, "Infinite pieces do not mate me."
Well,
There's
okay,
a lot of funny sayings, my friend Bugzilla.
give me 5 knights and I mate you with knight at b3, knight at a2. And,
Yeah. It's not quite one of those positions.
Only five. Only 5.
yeah.
That was one of his favorites. Let's say how safe he was.
Bishop takes a2, but still, you need a knight for b4.
Bishop takes a2 and pawn at c7.
Ooh, D takes sharp.
Okay. He still has queen d2.
Because now there's no rook in hand.
Whoa.
Knight takes f7.
Oh my god, I think white just blundered it. Didn't white just blunder this? Because there's a bishop takes a2. Oh, he didn't take on b1. Why you not take on b1?
Yeah, I think he missed rook takes b1, bishop takes a2.
No, the king
Was the king pinned?
E7,
Was the king was pinned?
King was pinned, yeah. So therefore bishop at f4.
The king was pinned? What?
Yeah,
the
the king
bishop
was
was
not on
pinned.
f7 yet.
The bishop was pinned.
No, the bishop was pinned to the
What
king.
game were you guys talking about? King was pinned.
So what are you suggesting instead of knight takes f7? Did Opper miss something?
I think
It'd only be queen takes e3 if it wasn't
it's
knight takes
over. He
f7.
resigned.
Wow.
He resigned.
Yeah, there's nothing left there in that position.
I think knight takes f7 was a howler, guys. It was destined for 10-10. Cleerkast, you was robbed.
But d takes e3 was really a nice move. That's very sharp to find that move order and keep the rook out of hand. I didn't spot that action.
Could you put that up on your screen?
And knight takes e6 was another option.
Yeah, but you have no.
So probably long castles was the mistake, right? Allowing takes on h1 somehow.
You're saying rook g1 first, and then castle if queen at h1, like I was saying before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't. You could have.
I just put it in, and it says knight takes f7. The computer doesn't have enough question marks. It went minus 38 after knight takes f7. I mean, oops.
Yeah. Well, look, that was very nice series. I mean, a lot closer throughout, but in fact, the scoreline not that different. We have 11-9 to Jasugi. Jasugi won the first one 12-8, so he's actually got a significant lead heading into the last set. 23. Sorry, let me count properly. 23 to 17. I want to say 23 to 17. So it's a lead of 6 games. There's 20 games left to play, so it's definitely on Jasugi's racket, but not completely out of reach. He's still got to prove it on the day. We've got one more donation. Rook Boy with $9.90 says, "Pin that king, I dare you." Yes, well, the commentator here is very tired. It's time.
Pin the king began to wonder.
There was some preposition missing, perhaps, in that sentence.
We were commentating.
I had
I'm glad it was appreciated by our chat.
I had 19 games in the tank, not 20.
Yeah, it was that extra game that just pushed us over the edge. I think that was it.
That's right. That was a straw for the camel's back.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of fun today, though. That was there was some great contests. That the game previous to this one was just amazing.
Yeah, no, they've really brought out their best games, and this really is a quality final, and fantastic to have you guys on the commentary team again. The last set takes place in exactly 2 days, or should I say 45 and a half hours from this moment when I'm speaking. Will we have you three here again? How are you placed?
I'm myself.
Yeah, so there you have it. So part 3, we're looking forward to that. That'll decide the champion for 2020. Yeah, I want to say huge thanks for the support that have come in on donations. They've been massive today. Big volume and big donations. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to more longevity of this tournament. It's been fantastic for us as a community to have it grow like this. So nice to have you, Yasser, as well.
Always,
we really love it
Justin.
having your attention. And Mugwort Kleerkast, thanks for tuning in too.
Cobra Kai never die.
Cobra Kai. Great stuff. Thanks to the chat. I mean, that commentary put us to shame, didn't it? Oh man, we were so close as well. As always, thank you, and we'll see you in 45 hours.
We'll see you all before the new year, and we'll wish you a happy new year when we get to that. So see you in less than 48 hours. Thanks for tuning in. I'll post this to YouTube as always. We'll see you soon. All right. Hope you enjoyed that.
Everyone.
Okay. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.